What's up? Hello. Are we live? Is it actually going to work? It's an active question. Hello, hello, hello. Are we live? Is anybody out there? Hello. Uh I think we are. Okay, it's working. Thank goodness. Hello everybody. How's it going? What's up? Hello. If you don't know, now you'll know. Wait, I I looked over at where the camera used to be. Hello, my name is Mega. This is Critical Eyes. Here is where I, a longtime DM, watch through Critical Role for the very first time. I talk about my analysis, the good, the bad. What should we bring to our own games? And I also do a little bit of theorizing and try to have some fun on the way. If that sounds like your cup of tea, join in. We are on episode 107. We are approaching the end of campaign 1. I'm so excited. Also, apologies if there is any issues. Obviously, or not, maybe not obviously, but I had my parents and my friends who don't watch the stream asking me about it, so I guess everyone saw it. It was on everyone's homepage that my computer got bricked. But it is doing better. I've almost got everything back up to snuff. It has encouraged me to invest even more heavily in the NAS because holy shit, if I had not had the NAS, so much more would have gotten lost. So that's all getting back on track. But also YouTube is fucking up today. And I don't know why. It's telling me that I couldn't monetize the stream and it couldn't give me a reason. It was just like, something's wrong. We don't know. Which is fine. It's not like it's even that, the monetization is not massive on the stream anyways. But it then, like, I tried to go in and adjust things and it was like, nah, you can't adjust things. So I think cursed. I think that's my main conclusion at least. But you know who aren't cursed? Vox Machina. They are probably not cursed. Oh man. I thought the VOD popping up was for this stream and got very confused. YouTube's all over the place, man. I don't know what's going on. YouTube also seems to have charged me for a membership twice, yesterday and today. What? What the fuck, YouTube? I haven't touched the membership stuff. Is there something going on with my monetization in particular? What's happening? The monetization tab doesn't say that anything's wrong. It says like, oh yeah, everything's chill. I don't know, man. I don't know. Something's going on. What's up, everybody? Hello, Mike 30, negative view, Delphi Star. Someone stole my handle. Get it back. Where are they? Who did that? YouTube is a tiny, scrappy company. Yeah, you're so right. Thank you for sticking up for Alphabet. They really need it. Yeah. I'm hopeful it'll just work itself out. Me too. I don't know. What else can you do, really? Anyways, there's some Critical Role to talk about. What even happened last session? Mostly, they ended their time at with Ayun in the Endless Athenaeum, and they are now in Vasselheim. About to they stopped in Ravenscrest, did some scrying, did some talking, and they will soon be on their way, I assume, to the volcano, to Scald Seat. Woo! I'm hyped. I'm hyped even more after I read the Explorer's Guide, or is it the Explorer's Guide? Whichever one. The Taldore, the very first one that got released between episode 105 and 106. That one. I can't remember all their names. Uh, but I read that. It was super cool, very fun. Lots of like in fiction authorship type stuff. And that has made me even more excited to see what is up with this. Heart Attack Explorer's Guide to Wildmount? No. No, 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 no. Not Wildmount. It's the Taldore one. Although it did have some Wildmount mentions in it, but it was mostly about Taldore. Last episode, my takeaway from last episode, there was a couple, but I think my like really core takeaway from the last one is this idea of time pressure and risk taking and decision making. And there was one part of it that the more I thought about it, the more I didn't love Matt's ultimate decision. I thought it was fine in the moment. I even think I might have said I liked it in the moment. But on further reflection, further retrospection, I don't know about the Raven Queen just giving Vax a trammel seed. Like, there is one side of it, and I think this is a complication with Vax's character in general, where it's like, on one side of things, Raven Queen is clearly opposed to Vecna. She warned Vax about it well ahead of time. She has expressed actively a desire to see Vecna defeated. Like, she seems to have the most personal stake in Vecna out of anyone, out of any of the gods at least. But I mean, admittedly, it's still pretty low. The other gods seem to be a little bit more. They seem to more be like viewing it as more of like a natural disaster of just like, oh, a god is ascending, and that's bad because we're on the other side of the divine gate. We can't help you with that. Whereas the Raven Queen kind of seems less concerned with the whole ascension bit and much more concerned with just the fact that he's a death god and like an undeath god in particular. So she has this like kind of weirdly unique relationship that the other gods don't seem to have to Vecna, which makes fine sense. But I do understand why to the players that unique relationship then implies that she should want to like offer as much help as she possibly can. And the other gods didn't really make a big hullabaloo about giving the divine seed, like actively weakening them. We had Pelor mention it, but when Pelor described it, at least to me, I took it more as I build up this divine seed over millennia or using the belief of believers or what have you. So it'll take a while for it to recharge. Essentially, if I use it on this, I won't be able to use it on other stuff that I potentially want. So you have to justify why I should spend it on this. That's how I took it from Pelor. Then with Ioun, her entire divine realm kind of trembled. It seemed to be much more impactful to her, but she's also wounded. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something to do with her wound, and that's why it's, more of a thing for her. And then when we get to Raven Queen, she definitely implies that there is like giving away this power in this way is absolutely going to weaken her compared to the other gods and might give the other gods a chance to more actively or violently contest her, which seems to be generally how it seems to also kind of be how Ayun was treating it, just maybe slightly more vaguely. But also, Ayun is hidden, it seems, from the other gods, so it also makes an amount of sense that she's okay with weakening herself even more. Clearly, she did it once. She's probably willing to do it again. So yeah, it's it's strange. So all that is to say, I understand why the players would have asked the Raven Queen for it. But in retrospect, I kind of wish Matt hadn't given it to them. Like, the Raven Queen has, or I should say the Matron of Ravens, has already given them quite a bit in resurrecting Vax. Like, it's sort of glossed over as this thing that I don't know quite how to say it. I think it's almost glossed over and feel as though the Raven Queen didn't do anything particularly important or impactful in resurrecting Vax. But that seems to not be the case, at least to me. She directly violated her own pact. There was no resurrection ritual, which seems to be the only way to get the Raven Queen to allow a sort of subversion of the natural order, is via the resurrection ritual. That's like the only acceptable way to get someone back from the dead. And Vox Machina didn't do that for Vax. She directly violated her own natural order by bringing him back. And she didn't need to. Like, it is possible that they could have true resurrected Vax and, like, we wouldn't be here, but, you know, she did it out of expediency, probably. And in the, you know, framing of expediency, that is something that Vox Machina needed. Like, she was giving them assistance by doing this quicker, even though it violated her rules. And Vax is kind of done fuck all for her. Like, we talked about it a little bit last stream, but Vax has only coincidentally served the Raven Queen. Like, he swore the oaths of he swore an oath to her tenants, but then, like, frankly, has directly, maybe not directly, but indirectly violated them. He was complicit in the usage of souls as food during the Hell's Ark. Now, that's not a major deal, I don't think. I don't think that's going to be a deal breaker for the Raven Queen. It's more to highlight that he doesn't really take the oath that seriously. Right, the oath is sort of just a passing thing that he just kind of fell into. She hasn't really asked him to do anything besides contest Vecna. And she has kind of just given him everything. She's given him paladin levels. She resurrected him for free. They didn't have to spend the material components to do a true resurrection. He doesn't need to breathe anymore, so he seems to just be explicitly more powerful than he was before, but, you know, we'll see. Maybe he's technically undead now, and so, like, a turn undead would work on him or something to that effect. I'm not sure. But all in all, it seems like the Raven Queen just kind of gives, and Vax just kind of takes. It's not really a two-way relationship. So even though a lot of the contextual factors, I think, would have led me to think, oh, he's a paladin of the Raven Queen. You know, he's been serving her all of this time. He deserves, you know, to get something back from her from that in the form of the Divine Seed. Upon further, you know, thinking and recollection, he hasn't really given her much. Like, I don't know that he's really done a lot to deserve that Divine Seed. He hasn't really done a lot to earn that level of trust or investment within himself. And that is all to say, that's all lore and story and plot rationale for maybe why this reward wasn't wholly deserved. But if something's cool or it serves a mechanical purpose, sometimes I can wipe that away. But I think this sort of is a mechanical anti-purpose. Like I think if anything, this weakens the overall mechanics of the plot moving forward. Like I thought the interesting thing to me was they've got two seeds, two, trammels in the making. They can feel fairly confident that 4 would be enough, no matter how long they took, because 4 was enough to get Thurisdan. So the interesting thing to me was, do they do it, do they rush immediately in with 2 because he's weak, because he has been weakened? Do they go off and do a quest to get only 1 and potentially give Vecna some time to strengthen during that time? But they take that kind of middle ground approach of they let Vecna strengthen a little bit, but they also are making the entire thing more likely to succeed. Or do they go all the way? They make it almost guaranteed to succeed with 4, but they give Vecna the full time and space to, do his thing. I thought that was the interesting part of this arc. Like that was the most interesting part to me, is that level of decision making. Or at least, sorry, that would be my most interesting part as putting myself in the mind of the players. So giving them one from the Raven Queen for not a whole lot of reason is constricting that interesting part. It's taking it from like a 2-stage decision point of like, okay, do we get 1 more trammel or do we get 2 more trammels or do we get no more trammels, right? There's 3 kind of options. And they don't even have to commit to one right now, right? They just, if they go to try and get another trammel, well, they haven't necessarily committed to getting 2, right? They could get the 1 and then decide, okay, we did that relatively quickly, or we did that relatively well, or oh no, Vecna is getting relatively strong. We need to not go and get the 4th, right? They could have made that decision even after getting the first trammel. And that sort of multi-stage decision making is very interesting to me. And giving them the 3rd from the Raven Queen, I think actually, I don't want to say wrecks the decision making, but it really simplifies the decision making to me. Now we're starting from the perspective of, okay, 4 was enough to seal Thurisdan. There was an implication that we might be able to do it with 2. Okay, well, now we have 3. And Vecna's not at Thurisdan level yet. We just need to bum rush this as fast as we can. It seems mighty unlikely to me, in retrospect, that they would have ever gone for a 4th. Especially when there is the chance to get another one from the Allhammer at the Forge. Like, we don't know that the Allhammer's presence will manifest in the Forge or that he'll be able to deliver one to them. But it's a pretty easy bet to make, right? You're either just going there and you're still ahead of the game, you still have 3, and you just turn the 3 into trammels and then you go and fight Vecna, or you get a little bit of a bonus, like you get a bonus 4th at the actual Forge. Bing, bang, boom, you're good. Like, there's no decision making there, right? It is just, there is ostensibly a correct path, and it's not really up to the player's decisions as to how good that path ends up being, right? The only thing that delineates between the 2 results is whether or not the Allhammer gives them a Divine Seed at the Forge, or not, right? But that's not part of their decision making. That's just, we don't know if that will be the case or not. So I don't know. I found myself liking it less and less and less as time went on and as I thought about it. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What is a NAS or a NAS? Network attached storage. Yeah. Network share if you've worked in an office. Correct. Yeah. It's just like a little mini. It's just a box that holds a bunch of hard drives essentially, and it's very easy to access. So I can load data off of my computer and onto it. Anyways. Also, last episode, you predicted that Vax will find a way to wiggle out of the Raven Queen contract, possibly stay alive. I mean, it's not even really a contract. It's just like it's just like a verbal agreement that he was just like, hey, please bring me back. And she goes, no, I don't think so. And then he goes, but please. And she goes, all right. Like, what's the contract? What's the payment, right? There's no payment in return for Vax's resurrection. He just asked nice and she did it, you know? So there was, I don't know. Is an episode being watched today? Yes. God, I keep trying to highlight it and I don't have the highlight working yet. But yeah. It implies a full ep, which would be surprising with tech issues so recent. Definitely not a full ep. Does it imply a full ep? I never include like a .0. Do I include a .0 on first episodes? Shit, now you've got me questioning. I'm gonna go back and look at that later. Anyways, but there's a big possibility that Vax will permanently die because of the Raven Queen. Is there, like, you know, maybe he was pretty nearly permanently dead already. I mean, he would have needed to get true resurrected, and even then, there's a decent shot he's not coming back from that. So, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a huge difference to me. Like, I guess, sure, she implied that, you know, this is last life, no other chance for resurrection. But that could have just as easily been the case had she not gotten involved. At least this way, she guaranteed he'd be back for this fight. You know? I don't know. The Forge is on Exandria, right? So, inside the gate. Yes, the Forge is on Exandria. My assumption is that, the Allhammer will be able to manifest there in a similar way that Cord is able to manifest in the Proving Grounds, or Raven Queen's able to manifest in Raven's Crest. I'm assuming that they will be able to talk to the Allhammer, and Raven Queen has proven that you can give a divine seed to a mortal even through the divine gate. The divine seed that makes the trammel can pass through the divine gate. I guess it's small enough to fit through. But we have to remember that with 4, the DC becomes 30, which is always overkill. They might only need 2 for a DC of 20. Yeah. So that's kind of my point, is like giving them 3 puts them in a situation where it largely reduces or mitigates any decision making, because now they're so ahead of the game so quickly that it's hard to justify not rushing it immediately, right? It takes away that layer of decision, to me at least. Because I think there was a valid argument to make back when they had 2 that they should get over there and do it right now. With 3, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. Vax, I don't know, bring me back. Okay. Do you not? I thought you usually did, but I could be wrong. Oh, I guess you usually don't. Okay, cool. Honest, you had me doubting it. I don't know. But the payment was his return to her after Vecna is defeated, wasn't it? Sure. It's like, that is a payment he would have already there. How do I say it? How many times has Vax died? I don't know how hard the resurrection ritual would have been. I know that he's died at least once, if not twice. So the resurrection ritual was already going to be difficult. To me, the whole like, you're just gonna die again post Vecna is vague enough that what like after Vecna or what like when the job is done even means is, I mean, they did not strictly define it. And someone even asks him about it. I think it's Vex asks him about it in the actual session of, does that mean that the moment that Vecna's dead, you just crumble to dust? Do you have time to say goodbye? Do you get a day, a week, a month? And Vax just goes, like, it was super vague. So even the payment that he had to pay is vague enough to where I don't even really know what it is. And might like have already been the case. Like him permanently dying might already have been the case, even if they did try to resurrect him. So even if we count it as a payment, I don't know. It doesn't really ring as equivalent to me at the very least. Yeah. There's a payphone in the forge that you can use to call the Allhammer. You gotta put in like one of the, what are the coins you put on your eyes to cross the sticks? Silver? Put in a silver coin. Yeah. These episode sessions being so close to the end and knowing C2 happens, we might assume they were already planning for C2 here. Assuming that to be the case, does... I think I might know where you're going with this. It's like already planning for a C2, especially if they had a like, you know, a go live date that they potentially wanted to hit, so they potentially wanted to get this last arc done a little bit faster. Could be a meta explanation for why the Raven Queen gives them a divine seed, why the Raven Queen offers to resurrect Vax immediately so that they don't have to do the true resurrection, they don't have to gather the material components. It even, you know, could be that he didn't totally want them to make the decision that possibly extends the show a little bit longer. It's possible. I think that would be, if that's what you're saying. I don't know, but it's possible that is. Does this change how a DM world builder will make connections, letting loose ends be to maybe use for C2 versus trying to tie loose ends by the end of C1? Oh, that's a very different question than I thought it was. So never mind, because I was going to say that I think it's unlikely that they had like a go live date in mind. But would that change how a DM world builder would make connections, letting loose ends be to maybe use for C2 versus tying loose ends by the end of C1? It's certainly the sort of, that's a sort of mindset that I would be in, certainly. I would at least be in the mindset of feeling less pressure to tie up those loose ends. Like, I don't think that all loose ends need to be tied up at the end of any campaign. Like, period. The world just moves on. You don't need to tie up all the loose ends. But I do think, depending on the size of the loose end, there can be a pressure there to tie them up, even in like, you know, a postscript or something,
for a world builder because, the players will have questions about what happened to them. Whereas, if you know that C2 is happening, not even necessarily when, but if you know that C2 is happening, I think that pressure would not be there nearly as much because your players are going to get to see exactly what happened and they're going to see how that loose end kind of evolved out of things, or out of the first campaign. So I think it would definitely change the mindset. Now, what exactly Matt would do in response to that change in mindset, what, especially as it relates to things like the trammels, you know, I think it's a question we could only get an answer to from the horse's mouth of like how I think that would have affected his mindset to be sure, but I just don't know how. I can only say how it would have affected mine, which is that I would probably tie up I would probably tie up fewer loose ends than I otherwise would have. But maybe he feels the opposite. Maybe he wanted a bit of a fresh start for C2. Who knows? But wasn't Matt and Marisha's wedding in the months of hiatus between C1 and C2? I believe so. At least that's what I think Chad has mentioned before. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so I don't know. I wasn't a massive fan of the Raven Queen giving the Trammel seed in retrospect, but all in all, it's not that big a deal. I think it just mostly weakens what I otherwise thought was incredibly strong, or what I otherwise thought was an incredibly strong setup. It is making it go faster, to that end. If the goal was to not spend as much time in this arc, but to imply the ability to spend more time in it, then I think that was solid, but I sort of mourn for what could have been in a way. Because I think that it was probably one of my favorite, or not one of, it was my favorite setup to an arc, and I think we're going to get a much more watered down version of the possibilities that were here. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And, I say that we're getting a watered down version of it. They could have just as easily, in my non watered down version of it, where what Raven Queen doesn't give the divine seed, they could have just as easily decided to go to the forge immediately. That's probably what I would have argued for if I was one of the players. So we might get, more of the same. It's just that they'll have a little bit more help in the final fight, and that's okay. Like the Horn of Orcus, right? Oh, in terms of just like random threads that are still out there, the Horn of Orcus is still out there. Okay, let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. That looks pretty damn normal. Holy shit. We're kind of schmoovin' and grooving. All right. Okay, and we'll see. I'm turning this all the way up for the stream mix in the browser. Browser's at 100%. I don't know why. Critical Role's always down there in the volume, but I've got that turned up. And we'll see if this works. Not only did all of my configurations and setup stuff get wiped when my computer bricked, but also some of the apps directly changed. I've got a whole new version of my audio mixer. So if you notice anything weird or not working or strangely quiet or strangely loud, let me know. But without further ado, Matt starts his recap. Oh, there's a Sam ad. I'll be honest, it's an hour 44 first half, and especially with how things are kind of going on the technology side, I think I just want to put in some time on the actual episode. So I think we're going to go straight to the recap. I also don't have anything set up on here yet. It's all gone, so that's over there. It's all gone. I don't even know that we'll honestly get all the way through the first half. I just didn't want to go 2 scheduled things, Friday and Monday, without doing one. I just wanted to get in and watch some Critical Role. So this might be a shorter stream overall. But with that being said, this might be me imagining things, and I do not want to distract you during the app. But since you mentioned it, it feels like you have something too aggressively ducking your mic. Ducking? What could be ducking it? Oh, what is this? There was something ducking my mic. It's new on the new audio mixing software. I didn't put this shit on. Voice Focus AI Acoustics. Clean up your audio using AI-powered noise and echo reduction. And it is set to strong currently. All right, you know what? We'll keep it off. What? Okay. Oh, there's also a low-cut filter. What the hell? It reduces low-end noises below 80 hertz, which is great for cleanup, but may thin out deep voices. Is my voice deep? Do I have a deep, manly voice? Okay, I'm just turning off the low-cut filter. I'm turning off the voice focus too. I'm just turning it all off. Fuck that. Okay. Oh no, the distraction? Well, look, no, I mean, this is also part of the reason that... What? OBS is already running. I wasn't trying to launch OBS. No, that's why I wanted to go live. I wanted to do the whole thing, try to do, normal Critical Role episode stuff. That's mostly what my warning was around. Is I don't think this stream will be long because I won't want to do an entire stream with all of these things, and I still want to get my chat highlighter fixed, which it's not currently. So no, I want to know so that these things don't bleed over into a more full experience. Yeah. Some ads are too good to pass, but I think most are in C2. I'll keep that in mind. All right, let's try it now.
Hello and welcome back.
You didn't say anything.
No, you didn't. I was waiting and there was absolute silence.
So you were
wow.
from earlier.
This is what it's like to have respect.
Never.
107 episodes later.
I know. That's all it took.
It so we can miss it.
Oh my god.
And it's the last time it'll ever happen.
Just lulling you into a false sense of security.
I figure.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, last we left off, Vox Machina, in facing the terrible threat of Vecna returned to physical form, sent you all through this conflict to seek audiences with a number of the deities of Exandria. After getting blessings and fragments of the essence of 3 of the gods, you discovered that Vecna had completed the ritual of seeding and ascended into godhood. However, discussing with Ayun, the knowing mistress, it will take a little bit of time for him to both understand the extent of his power, to claim his domains, and expand beyond just his current condensed avatar form, so time is of the essence. Not to mention that in order to claim the full strength, there needs to be a showing of power and faith, something to gather attention and faith from the masses. So, with that information, you also imbued upon Grog the ability to...
Okay. That's all stuff that we knew, but I don't know, the way that it was phrased and sort of focused on is interesting to me. There needs to be a showing of power and faith to gather attention and faith from the masses. Which, again, I do remember being a requirement. Like, I remember Ayun mentioning this, but I don't recall it being so highlighted, so encapsulated. Which implies to me what Vecna's plans probably are. So he's probably meditating, trying to get in tune with all of his domains and shit. And then he also needs to do something, I'm assuming, big, right? A show of power, a show of faith? I don't really know what that means in this context, but sure. And it gathers attention and faith from the masses. Now, faith is an interesting word, and they've definitely played around with it a little bit in Critical Role, especially when it comes to Keyleth's character, of like what faith actually like means. My interpretation, which this is just an interpretation, this could easily be wrong, and I can imagine counter interpretations. But my interpretation currently is that within Exandria, the term faith is used somewhat interchangeably, or at its core, like, refers to devotion, worship, or ritual practice. It doesn't necessarily indicate, or it's not necessarily indicative of belief. So we might say that Earthbreaker Groon has faith in Cord, or is part of the faithful of Cord, or places his faith in Cord, or something like that. But he would also have belief, and in our interpretation of the words, he still believes in, like, you know, the matron of ravens, right? He still believes that they literally exist. Faith and belief is more about which deity you focus your ritual practice on. So this, to me, sounds like Vecna needs to do something to get the masses to devote attention and ritual practice to him, rather than whatever deity they were doing the ritual practice for earlier, right? Instead of doing the things that the Matron of Ravens wants you to do, you do the things that Vecna wants you to do. That is the Exandrian faith in practice. Which it seems relatively easy to accomplish, if I'm being frank. If you're the only corporeal god on the plane and none of the other gods can get to you, seems pretty straightforward to get people to devote their time and attention to you. You kind of just have to, like, roll up and kill a few folk. And you know, I mean, fuck. I think that Thordak was probably on his way, if not already at this level with just what he did to him on. I have a feeling that Vecna is going to be able to do more with even less. So that doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult. It seems like the main sort of blockade or barrier towards Vecna's full ascension is getting in tune with his domains and such. But either way, it does leave Matt a bit of an excuse for Vecna to be, like, doing other things, right? To be doing things that don't involve Vox Machina. And I said last episode, it hasn't quite passed my personal bar with the whole, like, siege of Vasselheim, with, okay, Vecna needs to get worshippers, he needs to convert people over into the remnants. That doesn't quite pass the bar for me of justifying why he doesn't just come and smite Vox Machina as soon as they leave Vasselheim. But I think it probably would pass the bar for your average player. I think the average player, that's going to pass the bar for them. So I think it's a fine setup, even if it's not totally what I might need as a player. He has to put on the best damn performance this high school talent show has ever seen. Yeah. Vecna needing public showing of faith following makes sense, being we just talked about the seeds. Some gods had more to spare than others, depending on strength of power. It does seem as though Pelor had more to spare. That is absolutely true. And I mean, we've established previously in the Feywild arc that there is a component of a god's power relating back to the level of worship they have on the material plane. This seems to be why Sarenrae is not very powerful, why Kash's deity is not very powerful. There also seem to be some natural spirits that arise to some level of divinity purely through like just Gestalt worship. So if enough people think that a nature deity exists, they all of a sudden just kind of do. That was the explanation for the bear spirit that Vex ended up like fusing with in the Feywild, which hasn't really been addressed since. But there's definitely a component of worship to their power, but it doesn't seem to be the entirety of their power like it is in maybe something like Small Gods by Neil Gaiman. So it's definitely interesting, yeah. The words I would use is belief and worship. The gods have virtual unanimous belief. Worship is what isn't universal. Yeah, I'd agree. God Tycoon. Yeah. I thought Sarenrae couldn't give them a seed because of her lack of following, therefore lack of power, but I might be wrong. She doesn't say that, but I think that's a valid interpretation of why she didn't. She doesn't mention the seeds. She just says, let's all go, or you guys should all go to Pelor or Ioun. Or actually, well, I believe, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think she just says go to Ioun, but I don't know where Ioun is, but Pelor does, or Pelor might, and he's on the same plane as me. So you should go and talk to Pelor to try and find Ioun. But I don't think Sarenrae was aware of how the Trammels worked. Similarly to Matron of Ravens. It seems as though she, at least at first, was not aware of how the Trammels worked, that they would need a divine seed. Otherwise, you would think she would have given it to them before. It seems that the Raven Queen only understands what they even would need after Vax tells her and gives her an example. Says, okay, Pelor gave us this, Ioun gave us this, we'll then turn it into this. And then the Raven Queen goes, oh, okay. And then eventually gives it to him after, some amount of debate. So it seems to me like Sarenrae probably just doesn't know what they needed. If they go back to her, maybe she would give them one. I kind of doubt it, and I don't doubt it necessarily, but I don't think she should. Again, just talking about how many damn Trammels are we gonna make, and having her lack of following and lack of power be the reason that she doesn't, I think would be enough of an in-fiction excuse to do the thing that you should do out of fiction. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into it.
From the masses. So, with that information, you also imbue upon Grog the ability to blacksmith and Percival the knowledge of the construct of these divine trammels, things that could possibly be used to seal, and have been used previously to seal a god, as killing them is a very, very difficult and dangerous thing. Thank you for Retrieving this information, you discovered that the place where these can be crafted is called the Core Anvil, once belonging to the Allfather, the deity of construction, design, and craftsmanship. It resides beneath an underwater volcano known as Scald Seat, off the shore of a city called Shorecombe in Isilra. You also had a fantastic little run-in with Vecna recently, taunting you all. Last we left off, you had found yourself in Vasselheim, went to the Trial Forge to speak with Earthbreaker Groon, discovered what would be required to attempt to make contact with Cord, and you made communion with the Raven Queen, and in declaring your complete faith in her, she offered a piece of her essence to give you the third seed in which to make it a third divine trammel. And with you all...
Okay, yeah. Is that what Vax did? I guess it's what he did. Like, literally, at the end, she was like, you know, I have faith in you, you gotta have faith in me. And he was like, I do. So, all right, sure. I don't know. I mean, I can appreciate that Matt is sort of trying to construct a payment, try to make it a little bit more transactional so that it seems like something was actually given up in return for the seed. But I don't know. Reads as a post hoc rationalization to me. Now, you know what? If there comes a time during this arc that Vax has a decision to make, and one of the decisions involves putting complete faith in the Raven Queen, but some sort of, you know, ostensibly undesirable path otherwise, versus one that doesn't involve putting faith in the Raven Queen and maybe is more safer or on the surface better, and Vax chooses the one that is maximum Raven Queen faith, I'll eat my words. Then that would be an actual, that would make it, in retrospect, an actual level of transaction that would have, you know, given an actual level of, like, payment or sacrifice for them to get that divine seed. But as of right now, that sort of means nothing to me.
While falling asleep within Scanlan's magnificent mansion, you cast True Polymorph on yourself to take the form of a planetar, and did whatever you did.
Also, Did you guys hear that? Or was that just me that heard it? I heard ads incoming, take cover. I don't know if that was displayed to everyone. I think I would have needed to add the I heard nothing. Good. Fantastic. Awesome. Let's just add these two. I think it was probably on one of those, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. And gonna be a slightly longer break as well, because I need to take out the dogs. But then I will be right back. In fact, oh wait. Has it already gone through? No. Right? Has the timer already elapsed? Are we still pending? Oh. The timer just finished. I saw it, and it didn't work. And it didn't work. Sick. All right, well, let's go to BRB. I'll see you in a second. Oh my god, there's no music. Oh my god, you can hear me on this one. What the fuck is going on? Nothing's working. Okay, wait. We're gonna go to we're doing it manual. We're doing it manual. Choose an app to open this. I can't open the playlist because I don't have VLC installed. Okay. One more moment. Unfortunately you're not going to get a soundtrack, where it switches. You're going to have to deal with a single song that just loops on repeat. But we're gonna do Baldur's Gate 3 main theme part 1. Holy fuck, that's loud. Oh, and you guys can't even hear it, of course. Okay. Ah! All right. Now I'm actually going to go take them out. I'll be back. Fade out? No, not even close. Good. No. Why would it? What's up? We're back. These are the technical issues I was talking about. Honestly, I hesitate to put this sort of timeline on it. But I might just go until the next break. Or maybe I'll just say I won't take another break. And we'll go as far as is reasonable within that. Because, yeah, this was more of a let Mega see what all is busted stream. And also talk about D&D, because I kind of had that last week. And I could have done something else, but I didn't. I wanted to watch Critical Role. All right, sue me. Sue me, I wanted to watch Critical Role.
Did in that form as you all went to sleep that evening.
Except that while he was checking out his junk in the mirror. Heavenly junk. Heavenly junk.
Heavenly junk.
He shut the door behind Keyleth and I, and we go up.
Great. No, don't worry. Don't worry. You were worried that they were almost done talking in the mansion. You were like, oh my gosh, this has been such a quick and concise mansion sequence where we didn't have a fuckload of conversations with every single character. Don't worry. I know you were worried that wasn't that we were going to go through it quick. Liam O'Brien's got you covered. Don't you worry.
I don't think we should go another couple of days in silence.
Has it been days?
Just barely.
Feels like an
Might be the
eternity.
first spell I ever banned from my games, just out of
I know that
memory.
you are angry,
Trauma.
and I'm sorry.
I was angry. I was very angry. And maybe if we had this conversation yesterday, even I might be yelling that to your face right now. But it's hard to be angry at bravery and selflessness. I mean, we've kind of always had the problem of you having one too many ladies in your life, right? It's hard to compete with God.
I was thinking of Vex.
I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. I've never had any regrets, really. I do now. I know the chance you took on me. And I've confirmed your worst fears, and then some.
It's not your fault.
Regardless.
Okay, actual question to chat. What does he mean by that? What are Keyleth's worst fears that Vax has confirmed? They seem to both understand, which is the only thing that's, necessary for this scene. But I don't. People dying before her due to the long life. I do remember that now. Yeah. That was like real early on established. That was back in like fucking Craghammer. That I feel like they talked about that, and they've talked about it off and on since. But okay, cool. I'm glad I asked. Good reminder. Because I was like, I don't get what he means by that. But no, he's right. He did confirm her worst fears and then some. That's fair.
I am sorry. And I regret that I'm not outright dead already and that you have to stare at this wall.
Also, separate note, I would have loved for that to be more prominent in Keyleth's character. I understand why it wasn't. It's not a super simple aspect to tackle. But that's a really cool exploration of what it means to be elven, or have an elven lineage on top of the age extensions that that druids experience as they get to, exceedingly high levels. That's a very interesting factor, and like I said, I do understand why it hasn't come up, because most D&D campaigns, take place within a year. This one is going to be within 2 years. The entire events of the story. Or actually, this might be within 3 years. They might have actually passed the 2-year mark. Anyways. But even 3 years is not a ton of time, in the course of a life, but especially in the course of a supernaturally extended life. So you're not going to get to see that character watch someone, die of old age, say, that they really care about, unless you build that into their backstory, or you make a prominent NPC within the plot very, very old and then they die. You're not going to really get to see them grappling with that a lot. Unless you tie it to, adventurer deaths, but then that gets really complicated with resurrection and the fact that they're dying due to danger, not due to their naturally shortened lifespan. So it's complicated. I understand why it wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as prevalent as I maybe would have wanted it, or not I would have wanted it to be, but as it could have been. Because it's hard, but it's very interesting. And I hadn't really thought about it that distinctly until now. Yeah. It's part of her fears, but it doesn't feel like she's ever confronted and dealt with it beyond the Ashari dream pre-stream. I felt like it was pretty prominent, probably just a factor of different audience members focusing / remembering different things. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't particularly recall it I remember her grappling with her leadership ability quite a lot more. Although, to be fair, we had there, and this is also an interpretive factor here of I just thought about her conversation with Percy that I go back to a lot about legacy and about, the things that we build and the things that we leave behind and what have you. And I did interpret that through the lens of her struggles with leadership and with what she is going to leave behind. Not so much what, as everyone dies around her, what they will leave behind and what they will have to remember, or what she will have to remember them by. But I think that is a way you could take that conversation. I think it could be about leadership or legacy, but it could also just as easily apply to this fear around everyone dying around you. So I think you're probably right. Someone stole my handle. There's a layer of just, different audience members remembering different things or interpreting scenes differently. Yeah.
Pantomime of a life in front of you. But, Kiki, I'm grateful for the time I have left to look on you. And I am grateful to fight for your future. And I'm grateful for that chance you took on me.
I wouldn't take it back. You taught me how to take chances. Can I ask you a question? What exactly was the deal that you made with the Raven Queen? Was it when we slew Vecna or defeated him? I have a feeling semantics are becoming increasingly more important.
Well, she offered me a way back. And it was the only way back. I wasn't coming back. Not after that, not without her blessing.
I mean, this is so complicated. This is a really interesting scene, but I think I'm going to struggle to analyze it because I don't know what is known above the table. Like, Liam just said, I wasn't coming back. I wasn't coming back. This was the only way back. Nothing we have seen on screen indicates that that was the case. Nothing we've seen, at least that I can recall, would say to me that a true resurrection wouldn't have at least had a chance of working. Now, you know, with the resurrection ritual being what it is, no resurrection is ever guaranteed. But I don't see how Liam O'Brien could believe that statement unless he is just like ignorant of the magical possibilities. And like, frankly, just like wasn't listening to the other players talk. Which, you know, maybe he wasn't. But if Liam is aware that there was a way back, I think this is a fun thing for Vax to believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm saying this scene is sort of complicated, and I'm kind of struggling to analyze it because it really depends on what Liam O'Brien knows. Because Vax is wrong, and this scene I think is really awkward in a bad way if Liam is also wrong. Like, if Liam also believes that, then this scene is a little bit awkward. At least to experience. Because Marisha, who absolutely knows about true resurrection, she was talking about it, would know that that's wrong, but it would be difficult to, like, correct that as Keyleth. So it puts Marisha in a very awkward position if he's unaware of true resurrection. If he is aware and he's just playing Vax as unaware, that's very interesting to me. That's immensely interesting. Especially especially if Marisha is aware that Liam is aware and reads this as Vax's ignorance, not Liam's. Because now that gives Marisha a very interesting decision on how to have Keyleth respond. Does Keyleth just go along with it? Does she correct him? And, like, you know, potentially make... Because if you correct him and Liam is unaware, then that's just awkward at the table. If you correct him and Liam is aware, now there's a really interesting opportunity for Vax to have essentially made this deal under false pretenses, right? He might feel tricked or betrayed by the Raven Queen if he knew that there was another possibility, another way back. You know, this might drive a wedge between them. But the Raven Queen is the only thing continuing to, like, subsist him, like, continuing to, like, fuel his existence, it seems. So you don't want Vax to get too pissed at the Raven Queen, lest he do something that, you know, he might not be alive to regret. So that puts Keyleth in a really interesting position of not wanting to distress Vax too much and, you know, lead him towards making doing something he shouldn't, but also, like, wanting him to know the truth of the situation. Or does she ever even tell him? Because he's already made the decision. The time to change this, the time where that information could have mattered has already passed. Why? Is it worth correcting him now? Or should she just leave him in ignorance, you know? But it really depends on what the distinction is between Liam and Vax right now, which is something that they know. I feel pretty confident that they know whether or not Liam O'Brien knows about True Resurrection. I don't think that's like a secret at the table right now. So this scene is either going awkwardly or amazingly, depending. I tend to think that it's probably going well, because I tend to think that he probably knows about the True Resurrection. But Vax just completely ignored the question. Well, that's pretty par for the course on Vax. I mean, you know, I have my internal preferences for characters, and this may be one of the things that I dislike the most about Vax is he tends to be pretty dodgy when he doesn't even need to be. But yeah. Emo PC gonna emo a bit, yeah. It's just Liam being sad boy Liam, my most disliked version. It's in my most disliked as well, although I think there is something there. When we're talking about, like, you know, it was the only way, I did what I had to do. The question mark of, did he actually do what he needed to do, or did he just do what he thought he needed to do? That's an interesting conversation to me. I don't think he watched their scene before his Raven Queen scene, but Liam, should know about True Res. Yeah. 6 degrees of awareness. Yeah. I think Liam talked it out with Matt, and Liam decided Vax would only come back as a Revenant, and this is the in-fiction reasoning. Maybe. Maybe. That would have to be that's assuming a lot of Liam's preferences, I think. Because that certainly wouldn't have been Vax's decision. Vax wanted to come back no matter what. So I also don't know what a Revenant is. I'm assuming it's whatever he is. But the slow heartbeat, the no breathing thing, sure. And, you know, if that's where Liam wanted to take the story, totally cool. But I don't think that is representative of Vax's preferences. I think Vax wanted to come back any way he could. And, you know, they had this deal out on the table. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting to me if Liam is in full awareness, which I think he is. It's very interesting.
And even if we found a way.
I mean, also, keep in mind, the only difference about how he died this time was that he got disintegrated. His body just isn't there. He's been a paladin of the Raven Queen while and died. Like, he has died post him becoming paladin of the Raven Queen. We saw him get resurrected at Vestra. So it's certainly not like he's connected to the Raven Queen, so now he can't get resurrected normally. The only difference was that he didn't have a body. So, I don't know. Why did I just get an ad? You got an ad? I better get paid for that shit. It says monetization is off for this stream. What the fuck, YouTube? What the fuck? I'm going to be so pissed if I don't get a cut of that. Yeah. What the fuck is this? Look at this. Error loading monetization settings. Some information may be missing or inaccurate. Please try again later. Monetization data is currently unavailable for this video. What? Oy. YouTube's got to figure their shit out. Anyways. Oh yeah, Vax would not want this, only Liam. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, that's possible. I think it's a choice, to be sure. I don't know that they've fully convinced me. Like, I'm not gonna say that this comes off as Vax being naive necessarily, but it does kind of exist in that realm for me of like, if Vax truly believes that this is the only way back and that he couldn't have been resurrected otherwise, that reads as a little bit naive to me. Based on just what they've all seen during the campaign. And maybe that's what they wanted, but if they didn't want Vax to look naive, I think they needed to do a little bit more justification on how he came back as a Revenant. Maybe something with like corrupted material components or something as part of the ritual. But maybe they didn't want to take the time to do the ritual. I don't know. It's certainly an interesting choice. I don't know what the Revenant is. I don't know that I would have wanted that, but sure, I guess more power to him. Yeah, I don't know. It's a beat within the story that I don't have a huge opinion on. Mostly because it is really the way that they constructed it, they hung it really, or they really pinned it to Vax's relationship with the Raven Queen, which I think is pretty lacking. So I'm not super taken by this like twist in the story of like, you know, I don't know what a Revenant is. It's not that interesting to me if he's undead. It's kind of whatever. He seems living for all purposes that matter. It's not like there's any downside to him having a slow heartbeat or not breathing. It seems like kind of purely upside. So like, again, I want to present like very low confidence, very like, it doesn't matter much to me, but like, to me, the idea of like, you know, Liam wanted to come back as a Revenant, I don't know about any downsides, but like so far, it seems like the main like mechanical trade was no more resurrections in the future, and you're a Revenant, but also you get to come back much, much, much quicker. And so, like, overall, the Vecna plotline will be easier. Right? And, like, for all practical purposes, within the actual story that we're going to play out, he's just kind of stronger. I haven't seen an example of, like, any amount of trade-off. He came back quicker than he was supposed to. He doesn't breathe. His heartbeat is slow. Like, all of these things are kind of pure strengths. And then, you know, the trade-off is that he will die at the end, but like, I don't know, the story ends like at that point. You know, he's only dead for the post session that no one has to play. So, or for the post story that no one's going to play. So, you know, if a player came to me with this, I wouldn't be super inclined to say yes, unless there is some downside to being a Revenant that I'm unaware of. I would be inclined to ask for more, to ask for more in trade, to ask for more as payment, because it seems to me like Vax only got benefits out of this. Or sorry, not Vax, Liam. Like, Liam just kind of only got stronger at the table, and he didn't even, you know, drain the party gold to bring him back. So, you know, if that's the storyline that they chose, obviously they agreed on it. Matt agreed to it, so he's, I guess, maybe not as much of a hard ass as I am. I don't know. But it doesn't seem that inherently interesting to me, and I wasn't that convinced by it. But to Liam's credit and to Matt's credit, I think they're doing a lot with it. And honestly, if I'm being real, credit to the rest of the players. I think the rest of the players are really making this much more interesting than it was at base. I think that their reactions to it are much more interesting than the actual situation. Although, with that, I think some of their reactions are occasionally a little bit played up. But that's, that's okay. That's fine. I've gotten 2 since the stream started. 2 ads? These dickheads. If you don't monetize, I think YouTube still can. They just don't pay the creator for it. Yeah, but I tried to monetize the stream. I tried to turn manual ads on, and they didn't let me. Fucking bullshit, dude. I'm trying to see, is there any... No. Create highlight video? What is this? What the hell? I think YouTube is messing with their backend, and that's just fucking up the stream. Anyways, it kind of comes off as blind faith. My God has told me it was the only way, so it's the only way. Right, that's the naivete that it feels like to me. Or even my goddess did this, so it must be the right thing. Yeah, I think it's less about the mechanics and more about exploring grief, which is what Liam was dealing with around this time. And I guess, maybe this whole, delayed timeline is something that is baked into the Revenant. I should just look it up at this point. I know that it's a thing. Like, I've heard of the word Revenant in conjunction with D&D. I just don't know what it is. Okay, I see it in a bestiary. I see it in the 2025 bestiary? A revenant is undead? It has regeneration. I don't think this is what he is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the idea of he's going to die after the Vecna thing, is definitely interesting. And I think I think the exploration of grief is interesting. Like, I think that they have done a lot with it. I just think it was a bit contrived, I guess. Like, I think if that's the ultimate goal, is just Vax's life has a ticking clock on it. He's going to die, guaranteed, after the Vecna plotline. That's the core of the exploration of grief here. And I don't see a reason he needed to be a revenant to accomplish that. I can't really find what a revenant is, but it seems to have just given him positives. And this sort of just like my God said so doesn't really cut the mustard for me. Like, the Raven Queen's decision making and her restrictions or lack thereof, I don't know. I think all of this kind of ultimately comes down to what I said at the beginning, where they pinned a lot of this on Vax and the Raven Queen. And the Raven Queen, to me, is the least consistent and least sensical deity that we've met so far. Sarenrae, Pelor, Ioun, what little we've gotten of Cord, they all feel unique and cohesive to me. Raven Queen feels all over the place. She is willing to bend the rules willy-nilly for for kind of any reason, but then sometimes isn't willing to bend the rules or puts a weird restriction on some things. So I think that's my ultimate problem. Even if, say, the Shadowfell somehow infected his soul And so it's like, okay, the Raven Queen tried to resurrect him, but he still has the Shadowfell, like, clinging on to him. And so, like, this is the best she could do, right? Rather than the Raven Queen, like, randomly imposing this restriction on him that she has never imposed on anyone else before, including him. That's the part that's kind of like, what, to me? And we've had 2 separate in-fiction questioning of it. We've had Vex and Keyleth both be like, I don't really get this. And I think it's because it doesn't really make sense. Even if the overall thing that it accomplishes is somewhat interesting with the exploration of grief. Because I agree, that is interesting. And I can see that being something that they wanted to explore. But I don't know that the setup to get there was great. Yeah. This kind of delayed timeline would be really relevant and similar to the stuff Liam was dealing with at the time, so probably more RP for sure. I mean, and that's totally fair. Yeah. I thought traditionally a Revenant is undead with unfinished business. Once the business is finished, they will be fully dead. False life by willpower. I don't know. If someone can tell me where to look up, like a player race for Revenant, because that's what I'm assuming they're using is like some sort of replacement for his racial stats. Otherwise, I'm just like kind of broadly unaware of what it like actually means, you know. Hindsight is 2020. I think it would have been a stronger story-wise for Matt to let the PCs try True Res. Raven Queen blocks it, then Raven Queen makes deal with Vax. Depending on what the deal is, yeah. I mean, I think I just need some explanation for why is now different, right? Like, why now is she placing these restrictions on his resurrection? I think that's what it's really missing from me. So it's either some explanation as to, actually, in general, why for this one in particular could Vax not just be resurrected the normal way? Whether that comes from the Shadowfell or Vecna or the Raven Queen. I need a little bit more than just because I said so. Like, I don't know. It would seem, especially with everything surrounding Vecna, it would seem like a self-defeating time to do that. And it's okay to occasionally have God say, because I said so. But there, even like some implied rationale still has to make sense. And I don't know why the Raven Queen would have just chosen this time to impose this restriction on Vax. This seems like almost the exact opposite time that you would want to do that. So I don't know. In folklore, Revenant is a spirit or animated corpse that is believed to have been resurrected to haunt the living. Okay. I think while unsure if the intention, the contradiction of the Raven Queen shows her background as a mortal to me. She shows favoritism. If she was showing favoritism, why even restrict him at all? Like, why not just like give him the free resurrection if she's showing favoritism? You know what I'm saying? That's the part that's kind of strange to me. They tend to be emancipated but not rotting and have a specific mission they have to complete before they can fully die. I do not believe he has any mechanical changes, only flavor. I could very well be wrong, though. I mean, not having to breathe seems like a mechanical change to me. But, I don't know. Maybe. They probably only decided to do it when Vax was killed. I'm not sure they planned the whole thing before that. But even once Vax died, right? Like, once Vax died, yeah, I don't know. I think I've put my position out there. It's just like why is this one different? Right? If the end term goal is give Vax's life a much shorter ticking clock, why did it happen now? And their explanation was just because the Raven Queen said so, and that doesn't really super cut it for me. That's just for me. He does have mechanical changes. I just found them. I can tell you if you want to know. I was mostly looking it up out of curiosity, but it ultimately doesn't really matter for what I think or what I want out of this. Because what I like that was more me just focusing on like, man, it seems like Liam only got benefit out of this. But I think it's fair to say that like they weren't really concerned about the mechanics. They were concerned about the story and the plot. And just giving Vax that ticking clock to explore grief. And I think that is probably accurate. I think any mechanical changes are kind of neither here nor there. But I don't know that they landed that plane for me.
You wouldn't take it. To reverse the deal. I'm not asking. I guess just confirming.
I don't want to leave, but there are some things that I will not test.
Why? I don't know.
I do have faith in her. And I have
So
faith in you
why? I don't know.
and what you'll do. God, I feel so stupid.
You know what I just realized? When I'm saying like why? I think one of the things that makes this feel strange to me is how prominent resurrection has been in the story. If they were not getting resurrected all over the place, I think this would ring as less strange to me. The entire conceit. But they are getting resurrected all over the place. And we've actually already even had a major plot point hinge on someone getting resurrected against, or like in a way that they would not have preferred with I'm referring to Scanlan, with his daughter present. And the Raven Queen wasn't involved in the slightest. Percy had full control over whether he came back or not. It was up to him. It's so I think this wouldn't ring so strange to me if resurrection, like as a plot piece, had not just been littered throughout the story, with absolutely no Raven Queen involvement in the slightest. You know, yeah.
Really? You can protect that plane? I'll be here to protect this one. And I mean, if these past few days have taught us anything, it's death isn't the end. I just don't want to forget. If Sprig could forget the names of his party members that he died alongside. Well, they died along. He ran. Never mind. What's going to happen in 100 or hundreds or even 1,000 years? I don't want to forget this. What if there comes a day when I don't even recognize the name Vox Machina anymore?
I don't believe that will happen. You're going to live a long life.
Well,
Yes.
It's not it's gone now, but I just read it. Is it odd to think the checks they roll are prayers to the Raven Queen with Percy the soul still needs to be willing? It's not odd to think that. Like, that's absolutely a way, like, that works within the cosmology. Totally. Hands up, that works. I don't think any of this is, like, mechanically incoherent. It's just that the Raven Queen has been so uninvolved in Resurrection. There have been 2 resurrections that she's showed up for. Or 3, I guess, in counting this most recent Vax one. The first Vex resurrection in Shadowglade Loch. Marrowglade Loch. That's it. In Marrowglade Loch. Vax's most recent resurrection. And then Vax's resurrection at the Vesra. Every other resurrection ever, to my recollection, she has been totally absent for. And so I think more of what I'm saying is the rest of the time, resurrection has been dictated by this ritual, by the prayers to the Raven Queen. It has never before had this timeline thing attached to it. So the big thing that I'm kind of holding in my mind as a question is, why was this one different? Right? This is an exception. This is not normally how resurrections work. And the explanation I've been holding in my mind up until right now, up until this scene, has been that normal resurrection was possible, but he wanted to get back as quickly as he can, or as quickly as he could, so that they could defeat Vecna as quickly as they could. So he took a modified, a lesser form of resurrection in return for coming back much quicker. But that doesn't seem to be the case that Liam, or that Vax is presenting here. Vax is presenting this as if the normal mode of resurrection just wouldn't have worked. Period. And I don't know why that is. I have absolutely no idea why that would be. That's the issue that I'm struggling with. The deal Vax made felt more like saving time than the only option. I hadn't read this when I was talking, I swear. Vax made the agreement so he could make sure Vex and Keyleth were safe. Yeah, that is how I took it. The idea that this was the only option makes it more confusing to me. Yeah, because Mommy's special boy is special. I guess special in a bad way in this case, yeah. Yeah, that's why I think it was Liam's decision. Matt would not take the chance away from him. What? I don't know. Oh, maybe this is related to something I said earlier that I can't remember. I don't think Matt. I mean, I'm just like, why did? Yeah, I don't know. And like, this scene would be very interesting to me if they somehow display that normal resurrection would have worked. Like, if they display somehow that Vax is just wrong here, that would be interesting. But I don't know how they're going to do that. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. But even then, yeah, I don't know. Even then, the whole, like, trading speed for a lesser form of resurrection, it just barely doesn't pass the bar of believable for me. But I can't even really pin down why. I don't know. I need to move on. But it's if nothing else, it's got me talking about it.
And you will love again. And you will lead. And you will be loved, because who cannot love you?
I can name a few.
No one of any worth.
I'm grateful for you. And I always will be. And I'm grateful for any second that we have left. And I don't want to spend any more being angry at you. And I'm sorry that I was.
You don't want me to go?
No.
Of course not.
Hey, I'm fucking cold. Will you give me a hug?
Yeah. It's the weirdest thing, by the way. You being cold. I mean, it's just something to get used to.
Yeah. I don't have any clever clothes, or I'm just gonna crawl into bed and
Either.
go to sleep.
Both of you curl up and fall asleep. The morning comes. You all come to consciousness within Scanlan's magnificent mansion. A fine breakfast of various grains and oats and quinoa. And
Beans. So good.
Oatmeal?
What do you mean?
It's actually really good.
Lentil.
It's making me really hungry.
What is that? What is a lentil?
That's right.
Is it a leaf? Is it a bean?
No one really knows, to be fair.
What goes green earth is even here? I don't understand.
Lentils are here to punish us. We have done something terribly wrong, and now we must eat.
That makes sense like an hour from now when I get punished in the loo.
We were punished by that.
Yes, please. Sorry,
All right.
this head cold mixed with crying is bad.
It gets you right.
You got gold?
Yeah, it's rough.
That's what happened to me that day.
That's what, buddy.
No?
It's the worst.
Well, your voice is super sexy tonight, so that's good.
Smell again.
The monkey
Smell again.
You know these songs?
What are they feeding you?
All right, so as you finish your meals in the morning, prepare yourself for the actions of the coming day. What do you wish to do?
I don't fucking know.
Are we going to this volcano under the water?
I mean, yeah, right? That's where we have to go.
we need to be able to swim.
And we need to be immune to poison.
Yes. So if we have a hero's feast, that'll take care of one thing. And I
No, and to be clear, and I'm gonna try to go quick and just and move further on, but I'm not necessarily debating why Liam or Matt did it or who did it. I'm more talking about their justification for it in the actual story. So it's not the out of fiction motivations. I think the out of fiction motivations have been pretty well established in the chat, and I agree with. I think he wanted to explore grief, and having a timeline on that makes sense. And taking away the option for resurrection, for normal resurrection at least, is how to do that. I just don't know that they justified it to me in the actual fiction. And I don't think they justified it to the other players either, because two separate characters, I should say, have asked about it, and Liam has just dodged the question. So it seems to me more like we're just not supposed to think about it too hard in fiction. That's what I'm sort of hitting at. I don't know that it passes the bar for me in fiction. Out of fiction, why would they want to explore this? I'm totally with you. And this seems like a good way to access that like kind of layer of grief. Yeah.
have 2 chalices because we never used the one.
We should save at least one for
Yes,
a certain
obviously.
fight.
And you can make us breathe underwater, right?
Yes, I can. Up to
All of us? Mm-hmm. Even Trinket?
yeah.
And Pike?
Well, Pike at this point, I was like,
Oh, God.
yes, don't forget this. I can.
Dude, I forgot to mention it. Totally unconnected to everything else. My desk broke. I don't know what happened. The down still works, but the up just doesn't respond. I'm gonna have to take apart the mechanism to see if there's something like a disconnected wire or something. Maybe something got fried on by static. I don't know. Because the motor still works. It still goes down. I can hear it trying to go down. It's at the bottom, and I press down, it goes, and then, it can't go down anymore. But the up just doesn't, just nothing. Just nothing on up. And my desk is not too heavy. It actually has less weight on it than it did before. Everything's broken. At least, you know what? Where's some wood I can knock on? All right. Knock on wood. My internet's doing okay. My internet is doing all right. Which seems so unlikely. And it seems like it'll have to go out in the next day or two. That just seems like the natural progression of events for me. But it's crazy, dude. Sounds like a burned out H-bridge, which in practicality means replacing the control board of your desk. Oh, I don't want to do that. I can probably... do you think I can get one from the company? I don't fucking remember what company I bought this from. shit. I'm sure it's on the part somewhere. There's like there's a company name or something that I can contact to get a replacement. Cuz all the wiring still seems fine. I would yeah, it probably is just inside the little up down mechanism. Ugh. So annoying. Anyways,
Prepare the feast for you guys. That way you don't have to spend a spell of yours for it. As you guys are on this mission to go make this out, while I can be help, I think I need to stay here for now to shepherd both the people in my temple, the Everlight, with whatever words I can keep them calm in this chaos
good.
in the city.
No, Pike, but what if Vasselheim is attacked?
Then I can.
Shut up! I know they're gonna do this. They always have to like fully roleplay it out when Pike is leaving. But thank goodness that Matt saw this opportunity to shuffle Pike off into not being in the party. Thank goodness.
No, I also have a sending spell prepared, so if anything happens, I can let you know immediately, as long as you're on this plane.
So convenient.
That's what clerics are here for.
But I hate when this
Punches
happens.
you in the shoulder.
Can I have something of yours, like, at least until we see each other again? I get so, like,
Of course, Grog. And she kind of comes up to you and, let me see your axe real fast.
Ooh, the blood axe?
Yeah. She takes it.
Very Poppins hand.
I mean, it is.
Now I'm on board.
She hefts it and takes a little bit of her fading blue hair at the tip and just carves off a little piece of it. Hands the axe back to you and very deftly kind of braids it into a small braid. Ties it off and hands it to you.
Don't eat it.
It's the sweetest thing ever.
No, but seriously, don't eat it, please.
That's really kind of creepy.
Well, I mean, women
Grog.
can't hold it.
No. No.
I'll tie it onto my necklace.
Okay. Please be safe. And if anything happens, I'm going to let you know as soon as possible.
Oh man, it's gonna hurt not to have you with us, though. Well,
You guys will be fine. Better we save our strength for whatever's out there.
Yeah, if Vasselheim is attacked, you don't go saving the city all by yourself.
Seriously.
I know what you're like.
Why would I steal the fun from you?
That's what I thought.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Wait, no,
Bye,
she has to prepare
Grog.
the hero's feast first before we say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
So you hand her the chalice, and she prepares the feast within the mansion. So what little bit of, for some of you may have been an unsatisfying breakfast this morning is quickly taken over by the fantastically tasting feast of such a holy spread.
Yes.
Taking the hour to eat it, all of you guys get the benefits of Hero's Feast. So
No, it's not.
there is a
It's
bowl of lentils for those who may want it.
I had some.
It is untouched. Oh.
All right. So as the Hero's Feast says here,
Get,
Immune to fear and poison and advanced on wisdom checks.
And you roll
Advantage.
2d10
2d10.
extra.
I have a question for us,
I'm gonna roll
everybody.
2d.
saving throws.
Do you guys want food
I'm
now,
gonna
or
roll
do
2d10
you
for
want to
you.
wait to the break?
What's up?
Do you guys want food now, or do you want to wait till the break?
I mean,
Yeah, let's wait till the break.
We'll take a slightly early break in the long.
What?
2 9s.
Oh!
That's lucky.
Mike?
Okay, there you go. It's 18 additional hit points.
They can regenerate?
Yes, it's the maximum of your hit points for the next 24 hours. So keep that in mind, folks.
yes.
How long do your inspiring speeches last?
Oh, that is an excellent question. How long do my
Said
speech?
Kathleen Turner.
I think it's until the next.
Said Harvey Fires.
Said Catherine Hepburn.
I just
How
Spring leader, a creature can't gain temporary hit points from this feat again until it has finished a short or long rest. So you just have temporary hit points until your next long rest, essentially.
So can I double up on that?
There's more hit points?
These
You,
are.
you can. It'll be temporary hit points on top of that, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
No,
it
we're
lasts
probably not
for
gonna
what?
fight anything though.
So
Probably not.
Since my voice is completely shot and I don't want to.
Oh, please.
Do a speech?
Yeah, but we need it.
Yeah, we
I am
definitely
going
need
to
it.
do an interpretive dance of us swimming through the volcano and then going underground and shielding ourselves and then fighting and then Grog forging the travels.
Still shout a narration through it all.
wow, that happened.
I'm amazed that took over 100 episodes. I've been waiting for the interpretive dance for a long time.
How many did we get?
So everyone gets 18 temporary hit points, right? Yeah.
Is that max goes up 18?
No. Temporary
It goes
hit
up
point.
18 and then you have 18
So,
if you
so
lose
as, soon
those
as you
18.
take damage, they go away from the temporary first. Temporary never come back.
Okay.
Then you have the maximum hit point bonus.
Look, I've done personally far too many interpretive dances to ever make jokes at their expense on this. I can't say shit. My hands have too much blood on them to throw stones here. It's such an unlikely amount. It's such an unlikely amount that it wouldn't even be, it would probably be like double what you're thinking, if maybe even more. Megalore, yeah. Mega was in multiple circles and organizations and groups that involved interpretive dancing. So I have done it far more than the average person, which is something I hadn't particularly realized until right now. I think I'm gaining Megalore on myself. We're 107 episodes in and Matt is explaining temp HP. Anyone who singles Marisha out for not knowing the rules is purposefully blind to the other players sometimes. Yeah. I mean, you have to re-explain the rules all the time. You know, you can only expect so much from your players, especially if you ever want to play a different system. By golly gee. You play a different system, and now I have my players being like, oh shit, that's how it was in Blades in the Dark, not in 5e, and that adds a whole new layer to it.
So
Okay.
18 max up, and then an 18 on top of that goes
But do
away.
I get sneak attack damage, or is it also a critical hit?
Raven Queen, take it away.
The chainmail bikini also layered.
All right, so as you guys are all sitting there watching Keyleth dance while she eats, while you're eating, it's a unique display. You're prepared for the rest of your day. Pike says goodbye to everybody, gives you a hug.
Oh.
So be safe.
We love you.
Will you do me a favor and just, will you get word to Kaylee somehow?
I can do that, yeah.
Just tell her Dad's okay and saving the world again.
She goes, done.
Oh,
Hey, Pike.
oh wow.
Hey, Pike.
Yeah?
Can you
Long ago.
Probably, yeah.
Jesus.
can you also do one of those to Terry?
Right.
But don't say Dad's okay saving the world again. That won't make any sense to him.
No. Tell him we're all alive.
Tell him we love him and that we're okay.
We're all okay.
For the time being.
Yeah.
Especially Scanlan, he's probably really concerned.
You see the secondary, like very dull kind of flash of release of energy at your fingertips as she finishes the count.
We're doing this now? Okay.
There you go. You have food now.
We're doing it live.
Can I just have one slice of breakfast pizza?
What is this, a restaurant?
Jesus.
He's the chef.
He's like,
Hello, can I have one slice of breakfast pizza, please?
This burger sucks.
Here, try one of mine.
Alrighty.
Burger sucks balls.
So, Pike makes her way towards her temple.
Better?
You guys are still in Scanlan's mansion. What are you doing?
okay, I guess we should exit the mansion and then
You should do your little...
How are we traveling? And where are we going?
Do we just plane shift to?
above the water?
Right,
Is that
right,
over to the
right.
volcano? How do we do this?
It's a bit away from
saw
Vasselheim,
trees,
if I
right?
remember. I did see a tree, right? That was near
There-
the town.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay,
Let's,
so once we're there, do we know exactly what we're doing?
We're diving down into the volcano, forging some trammels.
And the volcano's underwater, is that
Yeah.
what the shtick is with it?
Yes.
The
It's on
tunnels
the,
of
it's on the floor. And you can notice it because across this open, clear ocean, there's one column of black smoke that emits.
So it's an active volcano that we're diving into?
Underwater.
Yeah.
Solid.
Essentially.
Extreme heat.
One question. I have the infinite blessings of Ioun's knowledge. I am a holy man. However, I'm not exactly clear. Do we need those little peas to make these
Yes.
trammels?
Yes.
And we have 3 of them.
3!
One, a two.
We're not going to get more of these before we forge the tram.
I don't think there's time.
Yeah, remember, like Delilah was already down there. She was in like tunnels underground, right?
Somewhere. We don't know where.
But we don't know if she's at this forge.
Darn fault.
No, we don't know if she's there. We don't know if she's
wait,
with
she's
Vecna.
there?
The vision that
No,
had,
she-
she was
Guys! Look, I understand. But also, if Matt is going to improve Scry, make the most out of it, because the enemies will. Delilah's at Tharmfala. Come on.
topside, and there was snow. So it's like
Yeah, she was
so
coming.
she's probably
She was
Vecna.
coming out of
well, like tunnels that burrowed beneath the city of Tharmfala.
Okay.
and she was like coming out. She had both of her eyeballs back and was like, "Ooh, it's chilly, bitch." Enjoying the winter.
And
so-
two regular eyes.
Yes.
Two
Regular.
Yes.
But why do you think she keeps coming back?
sir.
Oh no.
What?
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 You're just nervous about everything. Is that what we've come to?
I just don't know. Maybe she made a deal similar to the deals we've made.
I would assume
But
so.
with Vecna.
I would assume so.
for sure.
I mean, if gods can give us their blessing, then why can't she have one?
We should really tip like 10%.
I know, at least.
10%.
You know, be really generous.
Yeah.
Look at this. You guys.
So, like, yeah, so we go, right? Do we go to the shore and then out into the ocean, like on a ship? Or, yeah, is that what
No,
we
we
do?
go to the shore and then we climb up the volcano and then we dive into the
The
volcano.
volcano is underneath the ocean.
So we
But there's smoke coming out of it, so it can't be-
Underneath the ocean.
yeah, like a trail of black, sooty,
It's all
bubbly
right.
goodness.
We've only talked about it before.
I love the response from Travis. She says, but there's smoke coming out of it. He goes, underneath the ocean. He's like, it doesn't need to make sense. It's under the ocean. It's definitely under the ocean. I hear you about the smoke. It's under the ocean.
It's okay.
There are
coming out of the water.
Nope, not even close.
no, it's at the bottom of the ocean. There are volcanoes underwater.
Yeah.
And this one,
Okay, like the bottom of the ocean? Like, you know. Is this off the continental shelf? Is this still on the... Like, what are we talking here?
it's less like
Because if it's like on the bottom, they're going to need... There's some pressure concerns there. Unless, you know, Exandria doesn't have plate tectonics like we do.
just like burning smoke more than it's the sulfuric gases and poisonous fumes of the various reactors.
Oh my god, another ad? It's like 4 now? Speaking of another reason I don't want to take this all the way to the break, you guys are getting fucking interrupted with ads. Okay. I want to see the players make a decision. I want to get at least a little bit further. And I will do a classic reminder of what is it? I think it's speed up. What? My slash commands are gone. What? No, my slash commands are gone. Oh, wait. Oh, those are different. Okay, wait. So I'll do an exclamation catch up reminder. And you know, not a perfect solution by any stretch. And then we will continue on, and then we will end far before the 157. This might be a 3-parter.
And chemicals and pressure
You
beneath.
never watched behind the scenes like Titanic? Jesus, it's like
I got it.
Cool.
So,
How do we get there?
We go to the shores.
Well, I have a tree. I can get us to I can get us there.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right.
So with your things gathered, you all find your way. I imagine it's not too far of a walk from the Raven's Crest to a tree that's functional for the spell. It's on the southern border of the quarter that holds the Birth Heart and the orchards and various trees there. So you find yourself a suitable tree. You gather yourselves, steel yourselves. There is still, now that the morning has come, the tension in the air of Vasselheim and the word that spreads of some sort of looming threat, though sourceless and directionless most of the people here are, definitely has built this air of fear and rush for preparation that surrounds you. As you find the tree,
I
Kilo.
have a question.
Yes?
Sorry. Did Pike come with us to send us off?
I'll say sure. She walks you guys to the tree.
Pike, you know you have that, what's it called? You put on me one time, the death ward. Mm-hmm. Should we put that on one of us before we go? Just in case it's super dangerous, you know, one of the squishier ones?
Oh, yeah, I can put it on the
Does someone want death ward? So, like, if you go down.
It's facts.
Yeah, no, he's already.
I think either Percy or I.
Pass.
You.
You.
Oh my god, flip for it,
just kiss
Jesus.
already.
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, they do.
All department shares. Perfect opportunity.
Flip for it, heads or tails.
Well, department cheers.
Yeah, come on.
All department shares?
One time. 1, 2, 3, throw.
Oh, you.
Boulder
Take it.
always win.
I can give it to a few people.
Thanks, Mike.
That's convenient.
That's going to tap out my spells there. So I have to save some for sending just in case.
Yes,
so
of course.
so
Mr. and Mrs. DeRollo.
okay, this will only last for 8 hours, so travel quickly.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Alia.
Thanks, Pike. I thought my help, just in case.
You too?
No. I like a little danger in my life.
Is this going to be like the Kraken fight? Are we going to be underwater fighting again?
What?
I hope not.
Yes.
You were there.
We
We almost fucking died because you weren't there with us, Scanlan. I hated you at that moment.
Nope, he did not.
Water under the bridge, water under the Kraken. We're on bright horizons.
As you guys are arguing, she leans forward and, beneath her breath, finishes the incantation with the Death Ward, and you, Vixal, you feel the. It sounds like a soft clinging of gentle metals in the back of your head, and as it hits, this kind of warmth hits your chest and then sets in and doesn't quite fade. It's like it's like having a localized blanket held to your sternum.
Nice.
Who else would like one?
How many
Percival.
does she got?
She can. I'll say for the purposes that she can muster 4.
Oh, scan them.
How many does she got?
Scan
How many you got?
What, do you want one?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
If everybody die, if you die, I'm gonna be really upset.
On my birthday? Come on. What are the chances?
He's got that whole barbarian knock me down, I get back up again thing.
No.
Fuck back up again.
We're basically
You're
gods.
smell again. That's why he would be a rogue barbarian.
All
I
right.
think.
So for those 4 that have marked it, you have Death Ward, which lasts for 8 hours. The first time you drop to 0 hit points, it brings you to 1, and then the spell fades.
Right. Okay.
All right, so Pike sends you off of the wave, and you all step to the tree. You feel the transitional kind of burst of energy as the druidic magics pull you from one living source to another, and you all emerge on the outside of a tree that's barely wide enough to sustain the doorway between the two. And as you all kind of gather on the outskirts, you turn around, you can see the somewhat leafless living through the winter, but not the prettiest tree you've seen. And the doorway portal closes behind you. Glancing around you, there is a light snowfall, and you can see slush and snow kind of gathered dirty along the edges of the streets. You are on the outskirts of the city of Shorecombe. Population-wise, it can't be more than a few thousand people at most. It looks like there is a very healthy fish trade. To the immediate right of you, you can see there's a cliffside, maybe 200 feet off from the edge of the town, where there are carts going to and from, and you can see the large crane that seems to be carrying large containers and large nets filled with caught fish from the bottom of the cliffside. People around noticed you all emerge.
Okay. Small world building note. Maybe not note. Thought. The crane is interesting. The crane's very interesting. I'm not aware of how common or not common cranes were for, like, continuous usage in this sort of situation. But it seems to me, based off of, only the knowledge I'm bringing into this, that there would have to be a pretty damn good reason to, like, want to build a crane there? Like, if this is a fishing village, why did it become a fishing village? Because it sounds like the village is on top of the cliffs and then the water's down here, but it doesn't sound like the village is down by the water. The village is up there. So how did the village start? Was the crane there first? And then the village came to be around the crane? Because that would work. Is the crane an ancient piece of technology that was built for something else? And the villagers are just retrofitting it for fish? Because that would be cool. But alternatively, are there just very special fish in this area? But the lower parts of the beach can't support permanent dwellings? So you need to be able to access the shore for the very special fish. Maybe very special fish that are special because they feed off of the chemical soup coming out of Scald Seat. So, it has this, like, magical blah, 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 blah. The smoke is magic. The smoke is already magic. So let's just say the smoke is even more magical. And it imparts divine energy, maybe in a similar way that the water plane portal appears to. So the fish feed off of the chemical soup, the magic soup from Scald Seat. And then people discovered that the crazy magic fish were in this area, but you can't build permanent dwellings. So then you build the crane to access the permanent dwellings up above. That would make sense. Alternatively, if there was maybe just another reason for the village to exist, like if, say, there's a very productive mine nearby, Maybe if the mine is profitable enough, you might have something like a miners guild that has all of this old, maybe mining equipment just lying around. Maybe they have the parts for a crane, so it's relatively cheap for them to build, in relation at least to other people trying to build it. And they maybe want to invest in a more sustainable food source for their mining operation. But then later on, the mine dries up and the crane is still there, and, people are still fishing. And so maybe the village dwindles a little bit in size, but it still gets kept around because the crane still works. Maybe a couple of people learned how to do the maintenance on it, whatever. So I don't want this to come off as like a critique about the crane being there. It's more to point out that I think it's a very interesting world-building detail, and I'd be very interested in some world-building, like, rationale for why it's there. And I don't think it's that hard to develop one. You just have to think about it. I think if Matt sat down and thought about it, he would be like, oh, yeah, this is the reason that there's a crane there. Like, I don't think it would be a huge trial for him. And I wonder if he did that, or if he just threw in, there's a crane. That's my question. Because so far, just being like, it's a fishing village, it's like, okay, why? Why did they make a fishing village in a spot where they would have to build a big-ass crane and, like, maintain a crane in order to fish? Like, why would they do that? That sounds like an expensive, initial build. So it seems like this spot, at least to me, must have had some separate uniqueness or specialness that warranted a crane being built there. Because it's not so expensive that it seems like totally infeasible that like a random guild could have done it, or even an entire village that really put their mind to it. It's not that impossible, but it is still a big-ass project to build and maintain for no particular reason, right? Like, why not just, like, go somewhere where it's easier to fish? So, interesting little detail about Shorecombe, and I'd be very curious to get a little bit more info on it. Possibly Arcanum-era crane. Ooh, yeah, very cool. I would love that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing that would get me going, is if this was, just like an Arcanum-era crane. And an Arcana-era crane would make a lot of sense if it's next to Scald Seat. They're making stuff down in the forge, and then they ship it into shore, and they need a crane to lift it up the cliffs. An Arcana-era crane totally fits. That would be sick. I don't think that's the case, but that would be sick. This is what I want Mega's next series to be: unhinged world building freestyle that I can steal ideas from. I used to do more of that during Critical Eyes. I should get back into doing more of it. I guess that's kind of what the theorizing is, but at this point I have enough pieces to play with in the theorizing that I don't have to do as much unhinged world building anymore. And even then, in the theories, I don't do a lot of theorizing about like individual spots. But also, we're not getting a lot of new spots lately. We've been kind of going to the same spots over and over, so there hasn't been enough or a lot of like new things for me to theorize about. Or there hasn't been a lot of like new like city sort of stuff. The closest we had was Thar Amphala, which was so interwoven into the plot, and also a city of the undead. I wasn't gonna, theorize about their economy in Thar Amphala. I'm hoping that C2 will have even more of that. I'm hoping it'll have even more of that, but I'll think about it, because I also kind of miss just like freestyle world building. It was fun. Anyways, the the Great Crane Heist. It's entirely possible that Matt had all that in his head, but the player's character's never asked, so he doesn't spell it out. It's totally possible. Totally possible. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think this would not be difficult for Matt to do. Matt might have already done it. But yeah, the players aren't going to ask about the crane. They're not interested like I am. And like even a character that I was playing probably wouldn't look into the crane too much, at the current moment. There's a bit more pressing issues. So yeah, it's super possible that there's like a totally robust explanation for the crane that we just didn't get to hear, which is sad. I want to know about the crane. Yeah. Actually, isn't this the place where they first came through to Vasselheim? Like, this is the only port on this coast, presumably because of all the cliffs? No. No? I believe they first came to Vasselheim via Vasselheim's skyport. Because they originally came to Vasselheim on a skyship. Yes. They originally came on a skyship. That was back when Tibbs was still around. And then every other time they've teleported there. They've sneakily teleported. So I don't think we've seen this crane before. Or this town, I should say. The town has just become the crane in my mind. No, I don't think that's the case. You can tell how confident I feel about it. Theorizing is not freestyle, it's very directed. Freestyle. It feels like jazz a little bit while I'm doing it, It's like you can't take anything too seriously. You gotta just move. You slip and slide between ideas. We can already steal Mega's ideas. Taking the Exandrian specifics out of his theory is an option. That's true. That's true. That is true, and I have. There we go. Volcano at the tectonic plate edge, so a pre-existing village on a beach ends up way up in the air as plates move after volcano blows. So you're saying like the cliffs didn't exist when the village was founded, and then either the continent has risen or the shoreline has sunken or possibly both, and so maybe they already had an established village there and then built the crane to maintain their way of life? That sounds implausible? I guess depending on how quickly plate tectonics works. That sounds implausible, but I mean, you could make some ways that could work. Like you could make that work depending on other world building choices. That could I don't know. That could work.
Emerge from a tree, and you can see about 4 or 5 of the various peasants and working folk just kind of stop in their tracks and stare at you. Frozen.
I know, weird, right? Really weird.
Hi.
This way, James. And he grabs his little kid's hand. The kid just kind of slack-jawed watching you and drags him off to the side. People start walking again, and still kind of glancing over their shoulder. They go about their business, but keeping a very, very close eye. The people just
Maybe I
bam.
should have found a tree less in the center of things.
I want James to be one of the C2 characters.
But
No, I'd rather
never gets
avoid
easier. Yeah.
It's on the center of town, thankfully. Still off to the side, but you did catch the eye of a few folk at least.
I mean, you
It's
still
fine.
transported us a long way. That's commendable.
Yeah.
How would one go about finding out if you're being watched via magical means? Is there a way to do that other than if one is not a magical user? Is that just a perception check to?
No, that would be there are actual spells designed for that.
Just checking.
Are there spells designed to mask you?
Yeah, I don't think any of us have them.
To mask you from scrying?
Yeah,
What
so
about that,
people
like,
can't see
stinking
us. Do you know of anything like that, Scanner?
I've heard of such things, but I don't currently have one.
Cool.
Oh, well.
Just curious.
Good question.
I mean, yeah, because Vecna's fucking watching us.
Right now?
Right
Yeah,
now.
all the fucking time.
We should.
Yeah.
Run over there.
Do we take a boat now, or do we find some dolphins and ride out majestically?
Can we see where it's coming? Are we on the water?
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, can we make our way to the shoreline?
Okay, it's a couple hundred feet to get to the edge of the cliff, and these are sheer cliffs that drop off for 150, 200 feet or so before it hits very, very hard pebbled beaches. These aren't sandy beaches.
Right.
I stop everybody. Say, be careful. It looks like it could be 1,000 feet, which is deceiving.
You know you're only talking to yourself. We all know.
I'll get some break. I'm good. Thank you.
Bullet word.
That'd be so long.
I'm not good. We got to actually watch.
So we're on cliffs facing the ocean right now?
Yes, you guys are at the edge of the cliff. You look down, and there are the rocky beaches. There are a number of large docks that jut out from the rocky beach, and you can see there are about 5 or 6, with varying degrees of rickety, winding wooden staircases that are built into the cliffside that lead from the top edge of the cliff down to the beach below. And you can see a lot of workers are currently hauling large sacks and small crates and boxes, things that are too small to bring on the large kind of winding cranes that they have on the edge as well. And there's ships coming, there's ships going. It looks like this is a decent trade stop for...
Wait. I'm sorry. Oh, things that are too small. Things that are too small. Okay. I saw large winding cranes, and I was like, the cranes would be for the big stuff. What? That makes more sense.
Winding cranes that they have on the edge as well. And there's ships coming, there's ships going. It looks like this is a decent trade stop for ships, or for cities along the shore side here in the Seal Rift.
What do our elven eyes see? Can we see the smoke?
Make a perception check.
That was a Legolas reference, in case you're wondering.
I'm not familiar with that reference.
A perception check?
Yes.
20.
20. Glancing out at this distance, because the sky itself is very cloudy, very gray. It's a very gray day. It's cold, it's chilly, the wind's blowing, it's very faint, but it's still it's enough to the point where snow is falling. There is a very, very faint mist in the distance. Either a storm is coming or a storm is past. That's preventing you from seeing any sign of a glimmer of the smoke, so you're not entirely certain the direction.
Can I tell if the storm is coming or if the storm is
Make a
past?
nature check.
And there are people about?
There are people about, and some of them are just passing, not paying mind. A few of them stop and glance at these very well-dressed, very dangerous-looking figures that have now just walked up and look out past the ocean, but no one's broaching any conversation. They look like they're more making a wide berth or keeping a very untrusting eye on you as they walk past.
That's true, it's doing interpretive dance again.
So what'd you get?
I'm a motherfucking human barometer.
What'd you roll?
Natural 20.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really good at that. Check.
You get the sense that a lot of the snow that was on the street when you got there and kind of the slush was from a storm that recently passed.
Okay.
And the clouds and the fog that you see in the distance, it looks like it's blowing away.
That's good.
You that little girl.
Strangely, no little girls working at this dock. However, the person you did see that looked like a little girl is actually like what looks to be just a generally short fella who has a wrap over the top of his head, a swollen cheek where it looks like he might have some sort of a tooth infection, who spins around. It's not a bonnet. It's a crusty looking fisherman who's like, who you calling a little girl?
Oh, my bad, fella. Sorry, as you can tell, we're not from around here. Visiting. Yeah, I had a couple of questions. One is, there's a volcano just off of this coast somewhere, right? Do you know where it is? Could you point to it?
Was that affirmative or surprise?
He points out of the ocean.
Is he pointing in a general direction? I look where he's pointing. Can I see anything?
No.
I meant.
No. Are there boats for rent, for hire here?
Ships.
Maybe.
Say,
Yes? I mean,
all right, thank you. I think that's all I needed from you. Okay, so
I pull out a piece of
volcano's
gold.
out there.
Do you know where the volcano is?
yes. What, I think I'm a dog? What is this kind of treatment?
Do you want to make some gold?
Yes, I'd love to make some
Then
gold.
can you tell me where the fucking volcano is?
There we go. Straight questions. There we go.
He kind of rubs his swollen cheek side. You can see his teeth are kind of graying and
Dude, they just love talking to NPCs. It's crazy. They just love talking to them. They know where the volcano is. It's off the coast. It has smoke coming out of it. You just need to just cast Windwalk. Everyone turns into farts, and you fart your way off the coast and to the smoke. It's like, it couldn't be more simple where it is. But they just love talking to NPCs. I've never seen this. And it's not bad. Like, I don't want my tone to come off as like, how dare they, or I can't handle this. It's just so much more than me or most of my players. I actually can think of one player that would really fit in at this table, who has directly told me before, like, yeah, I don't really like combat that much. I just like want to talk to NPCs. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But beyond them, and they're like a minority position at most of my tables, it's crazy. It's wild how much they just like look for any excuse they can to find an NPC and talk to them. It has to be the voice actor effect and just enjoying forcing Matt to make new voices, random characters. I could see that being a factor. I could see that being a factor. They just like it when Matt has to like come up with a new voice or whatever. That could be the entire explanation. And that this is a convergent sort of trait that has evolved in them to love talking to NPCs just because Matt has been their DM. That seems very plausible. But man, oh man, do they just love it. It's crazy.
Alone. There's a little bit of kind of black and decay at the edges, but he kind of grins a little bit at the side of the gold.
A little more than paltry sum, so.
Poultry sum. How much gold do you see every day? I pull out another piece. Is this enough?
Make it 5 and I'll introduce you to my darksmith. One.
All I want to know is where the volcano is.
But you're not looking for a ship to ride, right? Like you said?
No.
All right. Volcano's that way.
And he points out, you see, he kind of glances over, he kind of lines up where you can see a couple of like larger rocks that are kind of breaking out from the shore surface, maybe 20 or 30 feet out from where the Pebble Beach ends and meets the waterline. And he's kind of lining up his arm and
That way. About 5 miles.
5 miles.
Hey, use your elven eyes. See if you can see
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna look real hard with 1,000 feet up.
I was kidding.
Plus they're half elf.
still it's too hard to see right now.
Can we
with-
just,
with
like, spread ourselves out there?
Well,
We might want that later.
yeah. I mean, we could. We can. We should rent a ship.
If we just get a ship, then when it's all over, we have a way out.
Otherwise, we're walking 5 miles underwater.
I mean, I would rather save my like 8th level animal shapes in case we need to bail.
All right, here's 3 more gold. How about that introduction?
That I can watch.
Puts the coins in a little pouch on the side and kind of buttons it up and locks it.
All right. Follow me.
What's your name, young lady?
Fenna.
Fenna. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
You as well, lass.
I love.
I like
I
her.
love Fanatic salads.
I also just want to note, not only does Windwalk last 8 hours, it also is 6th level. Like, 6th level is still a pretty high slot, but, like, not that high. And yeah, as long as they're not long resting in there, it'll still be active when they want to leave. And it's not concentration. So I don't know why they would just windwalk, honestly. Maybe they're just not thinking of it.
Leads you guys back down one of the winding stairways, and you have to wait at certain moments. There are certain areas where it switchbacks, and it's open, more of a, you would think it's a platform for looking out, but it's more for letting people get past, and for the pathways up and down, it gets kind of narrow on the actual stairs. But eventually you make your way down to where these docks are, and there are 3 large buildings that are kind of the hubs of most people checking in, checking out. They have a number of...
it is a good example, though, even beyond their proclivity for talking to NPCs. It is a good example of if you put stuff in front of your players, they're not always going to interact with it, but they're also not always going to ignore it. Right? We have to keep kind of both simultaneously in our heads. Like, just because I put something in front of the PCs does not mean they're going to interact with it. But at the same time, if I put something in front of my NPCs, I should not expect them, or put something in front of my PCs. I should not expect them to ignore it, right? I'm putting them at a harbor where they might reasonably be able to rent a ship. I shouldn't expect them to ignore that just because I think that they will be in a rush, right? That they will be in a rush because of the whole Vecna situation, especially when they got one of the divine seeds for free, right? So it's interesting. It's very interesting. If he had just dumped them in the middle of the wilderness, I think we'd already be windwalking. But because there are people to interact with, and because there is a way to save on resources in exchange for just spending gold, which they have essentially an infinite amount of, they might take it.
Docksmen that are keeping tabs on what's going in and out of the dock, and materials are being shipped in, taxing those that are using it temporarily, general business in the vicinity. He leads you over.
All right, I'm going to introduce you to Scent. She can rent you something at the very least. I recommend not letting that one in. She has a thing against the smaller folk.
Oh,
Really?
I'm being racisted against?
Yes, you are.
Look, I'm not. You seem like a very fine lady.
Touche. Touche.
Well done.
But I know Scent well, and you want to make a good impression. Just maybe keep her outside.
You're not the tallest yourself, you know.
It stretches at the lower back, and you see with a couple of like cracks and snaps. The hunched man gets about 4 or 5 inches of height and is almost cresting about Vax's height.
Look, Scanlan, the necklace is really nice on the inside. I can vouch for it.
You just put the hat
I'm not going into the necklace.
Or not. New experiences, right? All that. Whatever it takes to achieve the mission.
The meat man does not hide in necklaces.
Fuck it.
It's true.
No,
Fuck it, I'm not disguising him just because of what he looks like.
What?
Fuck that.
Wait a
Are
second.
you standing up for me?
Of course I am.
I would like to argue he just disguised himself for a solid year, though.
I don't care. That was a different reason. And if your fucking doc mistress is such a bitch that she won't give us a good deal because of him, then we'll find someone else.
Fair enough. I would also recommend you lower your voice. We're right outside of her door.
Wait, what's your name? What's your Synth.
I mean, it's really easy. I don't mind putting on the hat.
Expediency. Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of the principle, but do we have time for principles?
We have time for principles immediately afterwards. When we come back,
We
can
never
tell
have
it.
before. Why start now?
I mean, I like
It's up to you,
principles.
but
No,
I don't
no.
think you should do it.
Let's stand on principle.
Oh no!
For me?
All right. Are we done here?
Oh, you're still here. Yeah.
Good day.
Thanks for your time.
Don't be a dick.
Hopples off and makes his way back up the stairs. So you come outside this one
What was the name?
dock hub.
Scent.
It's
Yeah, Keelan's being like, do we have time for principles? That's what, like, elevates this all from, like, slightly, very, like, minorly interesting or awkward, depending on how you look at it. Characterization and role play and, you know, just, like, social stuff. It elevates it from that to kind of absurdly funny when you consider the stakes that they are operating against, the real restriction on their time that is that how their time is restricted. And the fact that they don't even fucking need this. Did I say that twice? They don't need this? They don't need this. Oh my god, man. They love to talk to people, but also forget they are there immediately. It's true. Vex has experience being racisted against. It's true. That's true. It's just, yeah, do we have time for principles? And this is where, like, I actually, to bring it a little bit more serious, it's where my kind of disappointment is rooted in the Raven Queen giving a seed. Not even in terms of the individual action and the justification for it, but in terms of how it affects the plot. Because now that they don't have decisions to make, really, like they don't have like super in-depth decision making about how they spend their time, right? They're just going to the Allhammer because they're already kind of ahead of the game. You lose a lot of that pressure, that time pressure benefit when they're not making decisions about if they should spend more time preparing or more time acting towards Vecna. Right now, they're just in a position where they're a little bit ahead, so they don't actually have to rush, but they do still. Like, the faster they go, the better. And they all know that. But they're already at 3 out of 4. They're not planning on getting a 4th. So it's like, as long as they don't waste, you know, hours or days, the preparation is not going to last long enough to have any sort of compounding effect, right? If you were in that decision-making mindset where you were debating between 2, 3, or 4 trammels, and you were debating how long to spend on each of those, if you decided that you wanted to get 4, or even you decided you wanted to get a 3rd and then weigh out your decisions on the 4th, every minute starts mattering. Every hour starts mattering because the prep is going long enough that it has the chance for little time wasters to compound. And that's not even saying that I wouldn't like to have this scene, but I think I'm more trying to expose and express the difference in their mindset, right? They were so much more how would I say it? They were so much more motivated, and they wasted so much less time to go and talk to all the gods, right? They were quick. They were pretty dead center focused on it. And in theory, the stakes have only risen since then. Like, they were focused back when Vecna was still just a guy attempting the ritual of seeding. But now the ritual of seeding has finished, and he now just has, like, a vague amount of extra power to gain. This is also one of the reasons that still, at this moment, I would really have preferred if he didn't finish the ritual of seeding that soon. I would have rather it been much later on. Partially because now that he's finished it, that takes a lot of the bite out of the stakes. Like, in theory, the stakes are similar. There is some second stage that he can still get to of, like, increased power. But it doesn't feel as visceral as he's not a god, he's attempting to become a god. Now he is a god, and he's just attempting to become a more powerful god. That's a lot more loose. It's a lot more wiggly. It doesn't feel as time pressing, I would say. So I don't know. There's a couple of things about it that I think if you juxtapose their behavior since finding out that Vecna ascended to their behavior before that, I think there's a pretty big difference. Maybe not huge, but I think detectable. And I think that the Raven Queen giving them the third trammel only exacerbates the problems, because now they have even less the stakes are more vague, and they have less decision-making capability within those vague stakes. So it doesn't even really surprise me that they're, not wanting to spend a 6th level spell slot to fly across the sea when they could rent a boat, and a boat which will almost assuredly take much, much longer. But they're willing to do it because the time has become less and less and less relevant as this has gone on from when it was introduced, right? It was introduced in Thar Amphala, and I think it has only gotten weaker since it was introduced, this time pressure. It is only gotten less relevant. And that relevancy really dropped when he fully ascended.
It's a modest 2-story building. Looks like it has a watchtower, second story, and the bottom floor is much larger. The door is currently closed. The wood looks a little sea-rotted a bit. You can see the edges of the wood are curling and kind of just dark and perpetually damp. Little bits of green moss and various fungus are starting to gather at the very edges of the building, but it seems to be standing and has been there for a while. Knock on the door. A voice inside goes, come in!
You got this, buddy. Come on.
I don't know why I made the same effect. That's okay. The door, but that's
as you push the door open, glancing in.
Also, I will note, when they left Vasselheim, Matt said that there was just a general air of fear in the air, and that, like, no one seemed to be particularly, particularly focused on a particular direction. It doesn't look like the army is there yet. It's hard for me to justify in my own head why, Vecna seems to be able to just teleport, just, like, pop around, even in his avatar form. Like, it's not like they just are sitting on their asses. If he knows their plans, if he knows what their plans were, he should know, just looking at them right now, that they are actively attempting to gather the trammels and to seal him. Once you have indication that they are not on your side after those negotiations, I guess it was an illusion when he first came to get them, but he has wizards. He can get them to cast a gate. it's a real question mark in my head. Why not just smite him? Or why not just come and smite Vox Machina? Just burn this entire village. Why not? You can definitely do it. You're Vecna. You just get a few more soldiers, set them on the road up to Vasselheim, and then pop back. Like, it seems Matt's given just enough explanation for why Vecna's attention might be elsewhere that, again, I think the average table might accept it. I just struggle to. I don't know. So they're trying to deafest semi-perfect Vecna before he becomes perfect Vecna. Defeat. Semi-perfect Vecna before he becomes perfect Vecna. I mean, basically right now, yeah. Yeah, he's semi-perfect, and they're trying to defeat him before he gains all of his godly might. He's somehow reduced right now, yeah.
Side. There's general, gray, dull daylight coming from the cloudy sky, but there are also a few oil lanterns that are hanging in different places. You can see stacks of like maps or other, heavy pieces of parchment that are curled up and tied off in sections. There are small crates, most of them empty, that are scattered about the entranceway here. And as you enter the building, you watch as a very tall, thin, lanky female half-orc spins around across the room with a singular kind of monocle that is very, very intense to make one eye look really big over the other. Spins around, the sides of the head shaved, and the rest of it just slicked back against the head with like a little bit of I want to say like a light brown shock against the black to one side. Dressed fairly nice, but you can see the clothing at immediate glance is nice up front and then just tatters at the bottom. Spins around. Yes?
Whoa. We were hoping to charter a ship at great expedience to about 5 miles off the coast to the plume of smoke in the underwater volcano.
You watch as the one eye, moving independently than the other, glances and looks each of you very quickly up and down, and then slicks back into place and goes,
That can be arranged, yes.
Excellent.
So, how long would you wish to charter this ship?
3 days?
I think 3. It's
Sure, yeah. It'd probably be less than that, but 3 days, sure.
Do you have a crew?
No, we would need to...
Can any of us sail?
I can.
Not if we want to live.
We would like to charter a crew, just also to maintain we're going to be doing a bit of underwater search and rescue. So.
Very well, then.
Will that be possible?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful.
3 days rental, including a crew on board. That'll run you approximately 150 gold pieces. I require just to be in case you lose the ship or don't return with it, an additional 500 just to hold in case you lose the ship. So a grand total of 650 up front, 500 to be returned.
500 is cheap. Woo! That's a cheap ship. Holy. Maybe it's small. It is also assuming that they even had one available, I guess, and that there are crew available that they won't have to wait on.
Upon your return.
Of course, when you have something to sign. I'm sure Percival can draw something up.
Of course, I would not dream of allowing such a thing without a paper trail.
That will do.
Follow me. Quick contract is drawn up. You take a glance over at Percival. Seems very thorough, but nothing beyond what was requested. And it's basically just, if the ship is not returned, all money is forfeit. When the ship is returned, a very, very intense investigation and perceived state of the ship is going to be requested from an appraiser to see if any damage is taken. Yeah, it's essentially like one of those seedy car rental places that the contract says they will ding you for every damage.
How much do ships normally cost?
I don't know, but I'm...
600.
I feel like we've rented a ship before.
But it was far less than
It was
600.
far less than this, but at this point I'm just sort of saying let's blow the money.
I mean,
because
yes,
time
of course.
is...
I agree. But an entire ship, I feel like, would be more than 600.
Oh no, if we
30,000.
survive this, then we can come back and
We
have
priced it
it.
out once before. It was like 30,000.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's...
Maybe it's a shitty ship.
That's
Is
fair.
it, yeah, I mean, that's fine.
That's fine. I'd prefer a shitty ship if it's cheaper.
Slaps the contract out in front.
Have we a deal?
And how do you think it will be shittier? I'd just like to ask, how do you think a ship could be shittier? It could be uncomfortable, sure, but I think the main way it would be shittier is that it would be really slow. I'm expecting them to walk out to a dinghy, and the crew that they're renting is one guy. I don't know, we'll see. If Matt does that, fucking hats off to him. I would love for him to just totally fuck them on this deal. Like they get out there and it's gonna take them like an hour or like a day to get out 5 miles because the ship is so slow. And they're like, well, we wouldn't have rented it if you had told us that. And they're like, you didn't ask about speed. You just said you wanted it for 3 days. What? It's not my fault. I'd love if Matt did that to them. To kind of slap them around a little bit for not using their resources right now and just using their infinite pile of gold.
I don't mind.
Very well.
Well, would you take this as a deposit? I give her this platinum bracelet with the sapphire that I have.
No.
It's just we'll get it back when we return the ship. This one. Oh wait.
Maybe you should amend that in the
The
contract.
one eye is still looking at you, the other one is kind of for the bracelet.
That's awesome.
I find this acceptable in our agreement.
But wait, it just occurred to me as I was handing that over. We need platinum, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
That was platinum, isn't it? Maybe we'll just do gold instead. Sorry, can I have that back? Sorry.
Smooth operator.
Flings it back. And there is an expression of like, of course. Of course a gnome would do that. If this was a Telltale game, it would say, her hatred for gnomes deepened.
She will remember that.
All right. Immediately puts it into a small shelf, writes down some remarks on it. Very well. I will show you to the shore shanty. Follow me, please.
Oh, it sounds elegant.
It's a bar.
Shanty's like a fancy name for like a mansion, right?
Yep.
Leads you out to one of the foreign docks. And there are a number of decent ships, some larger fishing ships, some faster travel ships, some longboats. You see one kind of galleon-sized ship that's just left and taken away on the far end. There is one of the...
I'm sorry. This is a harbor that is big enough to have all of those ships. Galleon-sized, even. So it's deep enough as well. It's a deep water harbor. And the town around it's only a few thousand people? Maybe there are places that are equivalent to that in history. That feels unlikely to me. That feels like... This feels like something that happens to me often, especially if I'm improving cities where, I'm not thinking about how all of the distinct pieces of the city work together. It's actually why I've started to prefer, like, hub cities or, like, a campaign that takes place primarily in a single city so that I can be really detailed and robust about everywhere they go. But especially back in the day when they were just going, when I would have like a murder hobo type campaign where they would go to, all these places all over the place. Sometimes I would just have like a town that was meant to just be like an inn for them to long rest at. And then, they would talk to someone, they would ask a question, I'd improv something, I'd improv that thing. And suddenly you start building things that don't quite mesh together. And this kind of feels like that to me, where it's like, this is a giant harbor. He's talking about like people like, going up the steps like that they have to like shove past. So like trade and commerce is actively occurring. It's not just like an occasional thing. This seems like, I don't know. This seems like something that would be a much, much bigger city than it is. But I don't know. Who knows? The Talkmaster will remember that. It certainly feels like a town that used to be a lot more prominent and has some story about why it's dying. It doesn't even feel like it's dying, is the thing. Like, Matt's not narrating, abandoned houses or decaying houses or like an entire district that seems to be, in squalor, maybe got hit by, a storm really bad and just no one repaired it, right? It's not a town that's falling into disrepair. It's just small. It's small, but with a big-ass harbor. And I don't really know of a lot of places like that, especially with a deep water harbor that could, like, fit a galleon like that. I don't know. I think it's also the closest port city to Vasselheim. Is Vasselheim not a port city? I know that Vasselheim has a sky port. I thought it also had a port. Does it not? I guess I never really considered. I guess I'd always just assumed that Vasselheim was a port city, but I don't know that they ever talk about the port. Vasselheim is not a port city. Huh. It's close to the coast, I think. I'm pretty sure it's close to the coast. Like, I'm pretty sure they saw it as they were, like, coming in on the airship. Like, it was like, oh, they like, barely passed over any land. But maybe it just doesn't have a port? Or maybe it's just, like, a little ways inland? And it just has, this historical location to it? And the land is kind of changed around it? Interesting. Only if the harbor is really, really close to a big city that is just a little bit inland, basically a glorified trading post. Yeah, I guess if it's really, really close to Vasselheim, but I think it's like 200 miles away or something. Like Matt did give a distance, but I don't remember what it is. But it's I thought I remembered it being pretty damn far away from Vasselheim. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's not the sort of world building that is impossible by any means, or even implausible. But I'd be really curious as to, like, a more detailed explanation that I don't think we're gonna get in the show. It would come in, like, a compendium, or just asking the DM out of session, for those sorts of world building answers. But it's a little strange. 200 to 250 miles southwest, apparently. Yeah, damn. It, like, is 200 to 250 miles. That's not impossibly far. So would this happen? Could you have, like, this massive port that is basically a run-through to Vasselheim? But Vasselheim be 200 miles away? And still have that operate in a way that the city itself, or that the Shorecomb wouldn't grow? Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Vasselheim is not a port city. That is fair. I would expect to see signs of its old size if it were dying. Exactly. Yeah. Vasselheim is in the mountain, no? Vasselheim has a mountain. In my head, it was a Gat Shadow-esque mountain. So it was like, mountain. I thought the mountain was on the coast, frankly. You know what? Now that you say it, it does sound kind of weird. But in my head, this was a mountain that was right on the coast. And then surrounding it was like a jungle, until we get to the mountain range that the Pyra is in. The volcanic mountain range that the Pyra is in. That was my image of Vasselheim, was mountain in the middle, 4 sections, and then 2 of the sections kind of had like a little bit of a chunk taken out of them. And that was where the port was. But that's fair that they've never described a port, so there just isn't one. And there definitely is a mountain, but I think there's also like a jungle between them and any other mountains. I think. Vasselheim is about 30 miles inland. Wow. Okay. That definitely can't have a port. But, like, if this was just supposed to be like a Vasselheim-related port, why wouldn't it be closer? I don't know. I'm getting too in the weeds. But this is an interesting city in terms of the world building. Yeah. Vasselheim is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So it was a mount port situation in your head. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if this fits with your thoughts of why they aren't just wind walking. I wonder if Matt assumed they would too and didn't go in depth on this location. Jonathan Busby, I'm kind of 100% with you. I think a lot of this is off the dome for Matt. Like, this feels to me like the sort of world building I would improv. Like, world building that doesn't raise alarm bells if you don't think about it too hard. Like, if you don't think about it too hard, it's like, yeah, a harbor. And, like, you know, a small village can have a harbor, especially if it's like a big trading post. But then you get down to the harbor, and now Matt wants to, I can feel my own mindset on this. I'll say at least what I would do if I was Matt, you know? They rented this boat. They're in fiction calling out how, like, damn, that was really cheap. You hear that as the GM. And I love when I hear that sort of shit of, like, when the players are picking up what I'm putting down, you want to twist the knife because it makes them feel like they've noticed something ahead of time. So if I'm thinking about how to twist the knife on this very small ship that I'm almost positive they're going to encounter here in a second, how's the best way to highlight the size of the ship, the fact that it's very small, to juxtapose it against very big ships and a lot of other ships? Ships built for speed, for size. It's a galleon. Oh my goodness. And in your head, as the GM, you've established there's a harbor. You've established this is a port city. Galleons are at port cities. Never mind the size of the port city. They're at port cities. So you're just not thinking about it. You know, you're just going. You're going. You're thinking about how can I dive them even deeper into this little interaction. And frankly, you don't really care about Shorecomb. If I'm DMing this, what do I care about Shorecomb? I didn't think about it enough to, like, you know, plan it all out ahead of time because I thought they were going to windwalk. So, like, I'm not really taking the mental energy and time to, like, make dead certain that all of this world building is totally consistent and cohesive. I'm not really concerning myself so much with that because as we've described the harbor more and more, it sounds almost impossible for this to be a fishing village. This is a trade town, which Matt then sort of also says later. He kind of says it's a trading post, but initially he said it was a fishing village, which are not the same thing, but they can coexist in theory. So, like, all of these things individually work with each other, and you can see, like, a chain of things that make sense of, like, fishing villages have boats and a quay and maybe a small harbor. Well, a harbor can also be thought of as a port, and they have, you know, a crane. And so there's some trade happening, but it's still a fishing village. Well, okay, if there's some trade happening, there would be a harbor master. And oh, this harbor master, I've already set out to not be so great, so she's racist. And then the racist person is also a swindler. And okay, how am I going to drive home the swindling? Well, I'm going to really highlight how small this boat is and how many other options she had. And she purposefully placed them with the small shitty one, right? Like, the chain of world building all makes sense unless you think about it all at once. And this isn't even really a critique. I don't even really care. I think it's fine because, frankly, Shorecomb doesn't matter. They should have just windwalked. Shorecomb doesn't matter. I'm okay with its world building not entirely making sense. Or like maybe being a little bit of a stretch or taking an amount of gymnastics to make work in your head. I'm okay with all of that because this all feels like improv to me. And the chain of world building through this is all done in service of fun and interest for the players. And it's done competently enough to where if you don't have the privilege of pausing to think about it midway through, you're probably not going to detect it as a player. Maybe you will, and maybe it's the sort of thing where you just kind of have to wave your hand at it. But for how little Shorecomb mattered, I think it's fine. Like, you don't need to put that much mental effort into a place like Shorecomb. You need to put that sort of mental effort into somewhere like Whitestone or Iman or Vasselheim, Westrun, anywhere where they're going to be spending a session at least, you should put more mental energy into, even if you're improving it. But somewhere like Shorecombe, that's just this little transitionary stop that they've already spent more time in than you ever anticipated. I don't think it would be worth the mental effort to do better than Matt did. I think Matt did very well considering the amount of mental effort you should put into this sort of thing. So it still gets me, even though I've just kind of talked at length about how it doesn't make much sense to me, I think it's totally fine that it doesn't make sense. Yeah. He probably didn't think they were about to actually come here. Yeah. Matt was improvising the harbor because he assumed VM would windwalk and started describing huge ships for the punchline of the boat they rented. 100% agreed, Brittany Lynn. I'm 100% with you. I think that's what's happening too. And I think that's totally cool. I think it's totally fine. Yeah. Improbable world builders unite! Happily, my players are usually averse to thinking hard. Keep them busy, not dying, and they won't have time to question. Exactly. We have time right now to question. We can pause. We can talk about it. We can think. I think this makes enough sense for players that don't have the ability to pause it. Yeah. It's fun to bend over backwards and try to justify how it could work. That's true. Yeah. Is there definitely a sea? Maybe the ships are airships up in the air and you go up the crane to get to them? Lol, JK. I mean, that's tight. I would love if there was a reveal at the end of this that they are actually not even on the ocean and that the crane, we've just been assuming that the crane goes down the cliffs the whole time and it actually goes up into the air somehow. It's got like anti-gravity. It's got graviturgy going on. That would be a wild and wacky reveal. I don't think it's what's happening, but that'd be super fun.
Shittiest tugboat type size boats you've seen in a while. Scanlan, you've seen boats like this, and they're largely used for either relatively cheap and relatively quick messenger services, like a courier ship, if you will.
No, I'm sorry, Matt. No, a tugboat. A tugboat's not a courier ship. It's not fast. A tugboat is famously slow. That's like kind of their whole deal is how slow they are. But that they are very cheap and very small, and when you're on the water, even a very small force can redirect huge ships, so that's what they're meant to do. They're like emergency, get this ship back to shore, it doesn't matter how long it takes sort of thing. And they should be. I would have loved if he had given them a slow-ass ship here for 600. It's a quick messenger ship? We're talking like a blockade runner? I don't think so.
That's about it.
Do we need a bigger vessel?
I have a feeling you don't believe this ship will make it back, do you?
Well, that would not behoove me. I wish to keep my ships at dock where they're safe.
Of course.
Yeah.
She's got a high-ass insurance policy on this bitch.
What? I wish to keep my ships at dock where they're safe. Do you collect ships? Are you a business person? It doesn't sound like it. You want to keep your ships at dock? No! You want your ships to be out there making money, bro. Fucking what? What you talking about?
Clever.
The crew is included. Go say hello. Hope to see you back in a few days.
Whips around and walks her way back to the...
Did you see her eye?
YouTube is acting up today. My comments don't go through 25% of the time, and I get 1 million ads. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I wanted to get to this point anyways. I was going to get to the point where they left Shorecombe. So I think I'm gonna actually out loud peg that. We're gonna get to the point where they take off from the shore, and that's where we'll end today. Because yeah, YouTube's acting up. I got stuff to fix on my end. And we'll see them off there. Yeah.
How does that happen?
She seems very pleasant.
Seriously, how does that happen?
Fenna was talking about. shall we away? Do we need to make any preparations before we go?
I think we're ready.
Do we have all the materials we need?
We did. Did we get the platinum from the bank? If I recall, I'm trying to remember.
Oh, yeah. We'll say that was your intent last time. Yeah, you made the conversion.
It's fine. I mean, look, I already gave my piece last session about, oh my god, data is currently unavailable for some videos. As a result, the displayed information may not be accurate. I just got that about my entire catalog. That's good. So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, the whole gold to platinum conversion. It's like, I gave my whole spiel about how I feel about that in general, but if you are going to allow them to do it, yeah, hand wave it. I do not care about going to the bank. So, fucking whatever. They did it. Who cares?
We're gonna do that.
We would have platinumed.
Yeah.
Let's meet the crew.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy.
How many crew are there?
There are 3.
2.
Two of them appear to be the crustiest kind of barnacles of like the gentleman that you met earlier, Fenna, looks like the brother of these 2 that made it.
Oh.
That really just lived the life. Both of these men that are inside there are playing cards, kind of hunched over the table. Can't be younger than their early 60s. One of them has a big, thick, gnarled white beard that darkens at the tips, which you can only imagine as most hair tends to get lighter at the tips. It means it's crusted with stuff. They're both wearing general seafaring garb and just tattered clothing. They're muscular. Their skin is very, very tanned. One of them's wearing kind of like a heavy knitted cap that kind of folds back onto itself and rests on the shoulder to the side. And they're both like playing cards. They just look over. I guess it's time to work. Takes the card, pulls them up from the table. All right, where are we going?
You strapping young lads are taking us out to the volcano.
Yes, gold seat.
Mm-hmm.
Both look at each other. All right, let's wake up Santy.
Santy?
Shanty.
Santy.
The
on
name
the
of the boat
shanty.
is the sea shanty. And the captain is Santy.
Santy.
Yep.
Captain Santy
of the shanty.
That's what I'm thinking. Santy Claus.
Technically, this is Captain Santy of the sea shanty, or the shore shanty.
Wow, the shore shanty.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Wait, Captain Santy of the shore shanty?
Yep. You watch as this large gentleman walks over and just slams his fist on this small, like a wooden. My brain isn't working. Like I think a hatch in the ground. We got customers. And you hear this rustling beneath, and all of a sudden the hatch slams up, and barreling out from underneath, you see the drunkest, most unshaven, unwashed, gnarled Goliath you've ever seen. Whoa. No facial hair, but it looks to be like bits of frizzled dark hair in the back, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Very few Goliaths grow hair. Now, what's interesting about this, too, is the size isn't as large as you, height-wise, but width is about matching yours. So this is like a bowling ball of a Goliath.
Yeah, little tank.
Kind of like steps up on the top.
Yeah. Only taller.
Yeah, large. Danny DeVito.
Kind of, actually, yeah. That's a good point. What if like Danny DeVito also was doing like Iron Man competitions for a number of years and then let himself go? So like he has like the bulk of the muscle underneath, but then just, yeah. Doesn't say a word, just looks at you all. And then walks out onto the deck of the ship.
Awesome. Great.
Can I look down into the hatch where it came from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Can I see anything?
Make a perception
just
check.
going from point A to point B. Yeah, this is just what we need.
Cool.
2.
It is dark, but you can smell the rum.
There's rum down there. Down there. There is rum.
Well, we have 5 miles ahead of us. Good old 5 miles.
We have five miles.
Who cares about what our responsibilities are?
We'll be able to get. How long would it take to go 5 miles on this fabulous ship?
Well, one of the two older gentlemen that were there.
All right, now let's see what Matt does here when we're talking about. Oh wait, 1 second. I'm gonna take this off because I don't want to show all of my notes because I was working on some video ideas. Okay, it didn't even come up on that monitor. Good. I want to see because I have how fast people walk places for my exploration, TTRPG thoughts. So let's see. The average person is walking, depending on load, about 3 miles per hour. So nonstop walking, with enough time for role-playing, eating, drinking, resting, wiggle room, all that. You can travel about 30 miles a day at standard pace, probably unloaded. If your load is significant, that's going to slow you down. If the terrain is rough, that's going to slow you down. But just like even flat terrain, like walking like the tarmac of a or not the tarmac, on the like asphalt of a road or something, and you have like maybe a light backpack, about 30 miles in a day. So walking here would take a little bit less than 2 hours. Now, I believe most ships achieve speeds, like at least in this era, are achieving speeds somewhere around that, especially if they're small. Maybe a little bit over. Maybe the faster ones are going like 10, 20 knots. I mean, it really depends on like what age of sailing we're in. But I think a lot of the smaller ships are going about 3 knots, if I remember correctly from my other vehicle research. So they would take a similar amount of time, somewhere in the less than 2 hour range, like 1 to 2 hours. If it's especially slow, maybe we're looking at 3 to 4 hours. If it's especially fast, it's going to be less than an hour. So how long does Matt say here? Because frankly, I didn't know any of that until relatively recently when I had a bunch of time out of session to figure it out. I have no idea what I would have improv'd for those values. Because I didn't know fuck all about that until recently. So let's see what Matt says. And I will not blame him for whatever he says.
That knock on the hatch goes. Sticks his hand out the side of the doorway.
Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours.
No.
2 or 3 hours? That's not bad, especially if it's slow, which I think it should be. Weird to call it a messenger courier ship, because typically you want to prioritize speed for that sort of thing. But yeah, that feels like on the slower side. Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to go.
I mean, that's assuming that it is going about 2.5 knots. It's pretty slow.
Fix with that. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, I understand.
Left the dock.
Yeah, like I like that.
They pull the sail up, they get everything ready, they go ahead and undock from the dock, pull up anchor, and the general wind, because it's cliffside here, the wind is pretty strong right here at the base, so immediately the sail billows open, and the ship takes off, and they begin to curve in the direction, loosely, of where you were pointed earlier.
Okay. After those initial winds, I can take them and keep us going for a little bit.
Okay,
I'm gonna keep an eye on where, 10, what the little guy said the volcano was.
It's crazy. This is like.
And try to make sure that our drunk captain is taking us to the right place.
After all, we are going on like a 3-hour tour.
A 3-hour tour?
3-hour tour.
Actually, should be only about a half an hour now.
Your sound effects, first of all. Appreciate the sound effects. If we're going on a 3-hour tour, I demand to know who's Gilligan, who's the skipper.
No. I'm like
Millionaire and his wife.
Oh, nice.
The movie star?
No, Ginger.
Oh, Ginger.
Well, then there's the professor and Mary Ann.
Professor.
Maybe the professor.
Maybe the professor.
So maybe you're Mary Ann.
Well, wait.
Does that make you Ginger?
Is this all about Moby Dick? I never read it. Or is this like 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Also never read it. Did Megan get that reference before they started making it more explicit? I still don't get that reference. Is it Moby Dick? It sounds Moby Dick-ish. Oh wait, Gilligan! Like the island. Wait. Why would Gilligan be on the boat? I've never seen Gilligan's Island. I assumed it was his island. Why is he on a boat? Why isn't he on his island? Also, who's the millionaire? Is this like a fucking most dangerous game sort of thing? Gilligan's Island backstory is that they were going on a 3-hour tour and then shipwrecked. Oh. Is it a most dangerous game situation? Or is it more like a Lord of the Flies sort of beat? Or a Lost? It sounds more Lost-esque, I guess. And the meta joke is that they are no more than 3 hours away from the port, and yet it takes like forever for anyone to notice. Damn. Just listen to the theme song? All right. I will. You have missed one of America's formidable TV shows. It certainly is formidable. I am aware of Gilligan's Island, despite not knowing literally anything about it. But it is like a cultural monolith. I agree there. I just, never saw it. Anyways, they have left port. I'm going to call it there. Because the fucking YouTube, the OBS, the streamer, the music mixer, I cannot do this anymore. I need to go figure it out somewhere else. I don't know what's going on. Despite predating both of us, it was in the 70s? 1964. Damn. Anyways, very fun, interesting start to a session. And the fact that it is 5 miles off the coast kind of does mean that it's not probably going to matter a whole bunch, but it still, it begs the question of why is Vecna not smiting them at this point? Even if Vecna doesn't want to show himself off to the random villagers and shit, now they're isolated on a boat. I don't know, man. Anyways, that's all I got, I think. I will be back hopefully soon. Depending on how YouTube's doing, how my back-end stuff's doing, we'll have to see. I might do another test stream. Maybe it'll be private, maybe it won't. So maybe I'll see you then. I don't know. Things are weird right now, but hopefully I'll see you soon. It's been fun. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time.